It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley are here. Big breaking news. Microsoft just acquires one of the best companies, started as an open source company out there. We'll talk about what Xamarin does, Miguel de Icaza, and a lot more coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. Hi, everybody. It's time for our annual audience survey. We'd really like to hear from you. It helps us understand our audience better, know what you like and don't like, how you listen to the show. It also helps us tell advertisers what kind of people listen. But I promise you, your feedback is always kept personally anonymous. All you have to do is visit twit.tv/survey and let us know what you think. It'll just take a few minutes, and it'll help us make Twit even better. We really appreciate your support and any help you can give us. twit.tv/survey. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. Episode 454, recorded Wednesday, February 24th, 2016. The running of the DLLs. Windows Weekly is brought to you by IT Pro TV. Enhance your technology aptitude. IT Pro TV is the resource to keep your IT skills up to date with engaging and informative video tutorials. For a free 7-day trial and 30% off the life of your account, go to itpro.tv/WW and use the code WW30. And by FreshBooks, the super simple cloud accounting software. It's giving thousands of freelancers and small businesses the tools to save time billing and get paid faster. Try it free at freshbooks.com/windows. And by Igloo Software. Igloo is an intranet you'll actually like. It connects people with the information they need to do their best work. Try it for free at igloosoftware.com/twit or sign up for a live demo to see it in action. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show where we cover the latest news from Microsoft. And now here he is. He's back. And he's rested and he's tanned after his world tour of New York City, Mr. Paul Thurrott. Joining us also, Mary Jo Foley.
Hello, Leo.
Hello, Paul. How was New York?
It was pretty good.
Was that the entirety of your vacation, was going to New York City?
Yeah, we
take the kids
things
to see
have changed in the Thurrott household. Like, my son didn't want to go away for too long because he works. You know.
Oh,
like,
wow.
So.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yep.
That's really impressive. He's going to be just like his dad, a slacker.
He is going to be just like his dad. And that makes me a little nervous.
Nervous. Yeah, you know what's coming. Well, good. I'm glad you went to New York. Did you go see any shows? Les Mis,
well,
the Phantom
not like
of the
Broadway
Opera?
shows. We saw the Blue Man Group, which was actually awesome.
Fun. Did I mention that I have the new single from the Blue Man Group?
You did not.
Look at that.
Oh, that's what that is.
That's Blue.
Hilarious.
That's the Blue Man Group. And for some reason unknown, the label of the Blue Man Group is a blue man eating marshmallows.
Oh, because they throw marshmallows into the guy's mouth. That was part of the show.
That's it. And on the other side, his mouth is closed.
Yep.
Don't you? You know, I've seen it. It's a good show. Love it. They're great. They're fun.
It's
funny.
amazing.
It's great music. But I can't help but sit there and think, those poor guys have to wear that blue makeup every night.
Like, how do they get that off? I know, it's crazy.
I feel for them.
I bet they never take it off. I bet they just wear
Yeah,
it.
You think
exactly.
they walk around blue all day?
Yeah, I think they do.
So I don't know if you heard them perform Giacometti or Ready Go, but that's what's on this record. And
I don't remember.
If I only had a record player.
Yes, some means of playing this ancient technology.
I actually probably did a dumb thing by opening the shrink wrap. If I had left it in the shrink wrap, I probably could have made a pretty penny on this in about 100 years. Kids, this is what we used to listen to music on. Where's the USB port, Daddy?
Right.
So big news, something that has been brewing for more than a year, because I remember last year during build.
I found a story of mine from 2014.
Me too.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
What happened?
Microsoft just bought Xamarin.
Woo-hoo!
How about that?
How about that?
What is Xamarin, Mary Jo Foley?
Xamarin is a mobile tools vendor that Paul Thurrott told me today used to be called Xamarin, which I didn't realize. I didn't remember that. Ximian.
Yeah.
Ximian, sorry.
It was an open source project at first to bring .NET compatibility to Linux.
Linux, yeah. It started at GNOME.
It was part of GNOME.
Or as the kids call it, GNOME.
GNOME. I don't know if it's GNOME or GNOME.
No, I don't either.
I think it's GNOME. It's the GNU.
You can rest assured that whatever way I just pronounced it is incorrect.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's pronounced glib.
I'm sorry, Mr. Thurrott. Once again, you have abused the English language.
So Xamarin is not a high pressure medicine, high blood pressure medicine.
Right.
That's Xarelto. But it comes right after it in the dictionary. But what puzzles me is that Microsoft has .NET. In fact, they invented it. So what do they need a .NET compatibility layer for? Boy, that's silence. That is dead silence.
I was deferring.
I think we're both posting while we're doing the show right now.
Would you like to wait a moment? Because this just broke.
No, it's okay.
No, Leo, the reason is because... go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, what Xamarin lets you do is they let you use C#, Microsoft C#, to build iOS, Android, Windows, and Mac apps. That's their core business.
And since obviously Microsoft cares more about those platforms than any other.
These days.
Spoken like a true Windows Phone fan.
Why wouldn't they want a tool?
That they would now buy this company.
It does. Because they are one of the best purveyors of iOS apps.
Yes. Yep. Right now they are.
Right up there with Google, which is also bizarre.
So odd.
But you go where the customers are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So,
immediately it's also
when
a tool set now more than as much as it
is
a
it's
library.
a tool set, right? But immediately, I think what all of us Microsoft watchers are thinking is, oh, so is this how universal apps truly go universal now? Because when Microsoft talks about universal apps currently, they mean universal Windows apps.
Right.
But what if there was a way you could create, Microsoft developers could create iOS and Android and Mac and Windows apps? Then they would really be truly universal.
Yeah. And by the way, I've always felt like this was a key part of the strategy that, you get it going on Windows, but I always sort of felt like maybe they'd bring in Android next because that would be so easy, kind of move from there. But this, I think you're right. This could be an interesting step in that direction. Truly universal apps,
Could be.
Yeah, because you write once, just as you do with XAML, but you write once to the .NET library, and then tools from Xamarin would make it work on every platform. Is that right? You don't code for iOS in this.
No, well, I see what you're saying. Right. So they probably. I don't actually. I'm not a developer by trade, Leo. But my understanding is that this allows you to target these different platforms with the same app, and spit out different versions of it that will work on the different platforms.
Let me put this in a way you would understand, Paul. It's like Delphi.
Yep.
Only modern.
It's a lot like Delphi, actually, because C# was made by the same guy that made Delphi.
And Delphi was cross-platform, right?
Was it? I don't recall it being cross-platform.
I thought it was.
Unless that happened later.
Well, the idea is that you write this. I see. That's the question. Okay, so do you target compile, or do you write once and it runs everywhere? I would guess you target compile, right?
I actually don't know, so I don't want to speculate, but I believe so. I believe you're correct.
So just to make that distinction while Mary Jo redials.
Yeah, disappears.
Yeah. The idea is, okay, I'm a developer. I'm writing some code. In the earliest days, code was not very portable. You were writing to a particular processor.
Yep.
And, of course, as operating systems became more and more important, you were writing to the operating system's libraries. So if you want to draw a window, you do it one way on a Mac and a completely different way on a PC. It's different libraries, different calls. It looks different. Even the language is different. But people want to be able to make their code portable. That's why C was invented. C was designed as a Unix language to be portable, so that you could run it on multiple platforms as a high-level language, which would compile, cross-compile to whichever processor you wanted. So our question, I guess what we're asking, is it like Java where you write once
Yeah.
and link it?
Right. So Java relies on a separate runtime being installed in the client, and there's a little bit of overhead.
You're writing to a
back
virtual machine instead of a specific hardware.
Yeah.
Or I think it is what I believe. Well, maybe somebody in the chat room will tell us.
Yeah.
I believe that it is.
It creates native apps. You do use C#. It works in tandem with Visual Studio. These are cross-platform native apps. I think this is just another option. I mean, for a developer who wants to target Windows for whatever reason, this kind of opens up the available clients, list in a very nice way. And so if you're coming from development from a Windows perspective, and C#, familiar with the .NET framework, you're familiar with those types of APIs and libraries, the Xamarin stuff will be a very familiar way to move forward, and then basically do what Microsoft's been doing, which is what we were talking about up front, which is going where the customers are.
Right. So in the chat room, FilmBeatGo says Xamarin cross-compiles .NET to Windows, Android, and iOS. So you'll write .NET code in C# on Windows, and then you can check a box that says, compile this for iOS, compile this for Android. Maybe Mary Jo, I don't know. According to the chat room, you write it once in .NET Ease using C#, and then Xamarin allows you to compile it, link libraries probably to iOS, Android, as well as Windows. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Xamarin's site while we're talking, and they're one of their taglines.
There's a novel thought.
I know. Anything you can do in Objective
C.
Anything you can do in Objective C, Swift, or Java, you can do with C# with Xamarin. That's one of their taglines.
Except that you have to write in C#.
Right.
Well,
there are a lot of people who do and know how to.
Yes, that's who this is probably targeting.
It's targeting guys who come from Windows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because actually, one of the most daunting things I think for developers is handling a developer who could write an app for Windows, for Android using Java, for iOS using Swift or Objective C. I mean, who is this person? I mean, that's a lot to ask of somebody, and
right.
Obviously, rarely individuals doing that kind of thing. Anyway, it would be a team of people, but being able to do everything in the same language, I think actually is a huge benefit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they call them native apps for iOS and Android and Windows and Mac. By the way, we kind of left that one out. Nice. All right.
Yeah. So Microsoft's saying that we'll hear more. Yeah, we'll hear more about exactly what they plan to do with Xamarin's technology and kind of how the guys from Xamarin fit in at Build. So that's about a month away. And also at the Evolve conference, which is Xamarin's big conference right after Build.
Yeah. And one of the reasons this is a story is because everybody loves Miguel de Icaza, the founder of this and the Mono project, because he's beloved in the open source community.
By the way,
yeah.
You know who else works at Xamarin and is now coming to Microsoft?
Who?
Charles Petzold.
What?
Oh, right.
He wrote he wrote the book.
Yeah.
He wrote the book. That's right.
Our colleague.
Aha.
Nice. What's he going to do?
Let's see.
Well, I don't know, but at Xamarin, I believe he was doing documentation type stuff.
He's a technical
as you would imagine, right? I mean, he's a writer.
Yeah.
And so I assume he's coming to Microsoft. I'm not sure that he technically ever worked for Microsoft before, right?
It says in Wikipedia, one of Microsoft's 7 Windows pioneers. That's how important Chuck is. May I call him Chuck?
No.
No.
And no, you may not. Was he actually an employee of Microsoft?
For Microsoft. He was a Microsoft MVP.
This is great.
Yeah,
he started kind of like we did.
Yeah.
In 1984, he bought a IBM PC for $5,000.
Yeah.
He needed the money, so he wrote an article about ANSI.sys and the prompt command, which he submitted to PC Magazine. They paid him $800, and that's how he got started.
I believe. Yeah, I believe he was briefly like an OS2 guy, maybe before Windows, if I'm not mistaken. But
I guess in a way he worked for Microsoft, because didn't he work for the Microsoft Systems Journal? He certainly wrote for them.
Yeah, but I
He
don't
wrote
think
for
that's
Microsoft Press.
And
right?
he wrote
Right.
for Microsoft Press. Yeah. Oh, Susan Lammers. Remember
I
her?
don't know that he was an employee.
I know. I'm not sure either about that.
He's got, man, this guy's written a lot. More books than you almost. By the way, his last book, Creating Mobile Apps with Xamarin. I know, that's crazy talk.
Yeah.
How many how to print books do you have? How many books that were never published do you have? How about the OS2 graphics programming interface?
Sure. That would be compelling reading today.
I'm thinking that was a matter of timing.
Yeah.
I finished the book. Is there anything
Hey, listen,
left?
about this little rabbit hole you were going down.
So he's working for Microsoft now, as part of the
If he
acquisition.
stays, yeah.
Yeah.
If he stays,
And I could be completely wrong, but I don't think he ever actually worked for Microsoft.
I can't find anything that says he did.
Yeah,
So-
I don't believe so.
He's written articles for the MSDN magazine, the Microsoft Press, but yeah, that doesn't count really. Yeah, neat.
I mean, he would have gotten checks from a Microsoft-owned entity because he wrote for
Right.
Microsoft-owned,
Press.
it's the Systems Journal, the MSDN magazine, et cetera. But-
And you know this guy's an old timer when you look at his website,
oh yeah.
because
Yep.
that's you guarantee you hand coded.
And by the way, that picture
HTML.
is easily 20 years old.
Yeah, I like it. He's
a great guy, by the way.
Oh, I love Charles. Or Chuck, as we know him.
Again,
Chuck.
no.
Don't you hate it?
Good old Chuck.
When somebody pretends they know somebody, and so they call him like Chuck, and then everybody who knows him goes,
Yeah.
I don't think
Yep.
so.
I can assure you that most developers actually meet this person, refer to him as
Mr. Pencil, Mr. Pencil. Yeah,
I mean, so
yeah. No, that's
He's
nice.
the guy.
Yeah, I'm glad. I hope he has a little stock in that going enterprise. But I'm very happy for Miguel too. I really like Miguel.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe we can get Miguel now on Windows Weekly sometime.
Oh, I bet
He's been on, hasn't he? He's wandered through.
He sure.
I don't know if we ever had him on.
We never got him on mic. Huh?
I told you about. We were at one of the parties at Build in San Francisco, and it was Raphael and I. We were just standing there. This guy walks up to us. He's just talking to us, and he says, "What do you guys do for a living?" Raphael, I write for this, and I do this, blah blah blah. And we said, what do you do? And he says, I work on this developer tool that helps developers port .NET code to other platforms. And I was like, oh my god. You realize who you're talking to, and you just feel like a complete jackass.
Oh, you weren't mocking him. You were.
No, I was just like
impressed.
Then I realized who he was.
Oh, I see. Oh, you did. I think
comes
you have
up
told
like a
that
regular
story.
guy.
Yeah. He's the Miguel de Conde.
Yeah.
So the question is, of course, whether those two will stick around and the rest. I'm sure they will. Or it could just be that, they got the tool. Microsoft got the tool. They want to kind of keep the developers on hand if they can.
I have to think they wanted Miguel. I know they always did.
Asset, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We told you this story from 2003, right? I mean, the rooftop in LA, it was it would have been PDC back then. This was the Longhorn PDC, and Don Box serenaded. Don Box, who has a band called Band on the Runtime that contorts popular songs into like programming, related songs with new lyrics. Is kind of cringeworthy. Really talented guy, obviously, and an awesome guy. I love Don Box, but I mean, he serenaded Miguel de Casa to the song "Michelle" by the Beatles, and which someone has now posted. Actually, you can see it. Someone just put it on. Chris Martin, not of Coldplay fame, just put it on Twitter if you want to click the link to it.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
And how would you do that? Right. So I will retweet it. I don't know.
No, I'll find. Oh, it's not.
It's on YouTube.
Chris
So it's
Martin.
Don Box Serenades.
Yeah, there it is.
It's called My Miguel is the name of it.
My Miguel. Really, is it worth Don Box?
Well, it's a nice reminder of how old we are. So
There's not, you know what? You can't go wrong. My Miguel.
that's not Carl Franklin. Is Carl Franklin part of this?
This is it.
That looks like Carl Franklin. Doesn't it?
Kind of does, doesn't he? Playing the guitar? I bet it is.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I should know that.
That's gotta be. That's gotta be him.
This poor guy had to stand there and take it.
Oh God. Where's Simon Cowell when we need him?
Yes.
Or what was the Gong Show guy? Who
Yeah,
just-
Chuck Barris.
Chuck Barris, yeah.
Okay, I think we've heard quite enough of that.
You've got it. Yeah.
Leo, welcome to our world. You didn't think that the Windows guys partied as hard as the Mac guys. Now you know.
Yeah, that's true. Those things happen at Mac conventions too. If there were any Mac conventions, I should say.
It will happen on like an Apple cruise.
Oh,
with,
I've been
Steve
on a few
Wozniak.
of those. Yeah. Although then you get somebody like Chris Breen who can actually sing and play.
Sure.
Actually, the guitar was pretty good. I think that is Carl Franklin, or as we know him, Chuck.
Chuck. Little Chuck.
I read it in 2 Corinthians.
Oh, God.
All right, let's take a break. Because
We have, by the way, just so everyone's clear, the
car has gone
about
off
half an hour in.
the road.
We have literally not gotten to a single thing that's actually in the show.
That was a big story. Breaking news. You heard
I
it
know,
here
I'm just
first.
saying. So another finely honed show by the professionals.
Trained professionals.
Yep.
Monkeys running this thing. Our show today brought to you by actually truly trained professionals. IT Pro TV. My buddies, Tim and Don, or as I call them, Timothy and Donald, are the guys behind IT Pro TV. For many years, more than a decade, they were IT trainers. You know, helping people get their certs, and you know, really good at it. You know, there are a couple of ways. If you first of all, you need those certs to get a job in IT. And a lot of times, you got to. It's the easiest way. It's like a diploma to show that you have the skills, whether it's the A+ or the Microsoft Technology Certification or CCNA or MCSA or et cetera, et cetera. You put that on the resume, you show that to your future employer, and they know you have a certain level of technical expertise. And people spend a lot of time and money getting those certs. They go to technical school, spend thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars, or they buy these big fat $150 books, or it's hard. So Tim and Don thought we could do a better job. We could do this better. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to basically do what Leo does with Twit, or what we did with Tech TV. They decided to do a television network, 2 streams, by the way, 2 live streams, in which they train people to prepare for the certs. In fact, it's really more than that now. If you're already in IT, you already got a job, and you just want to keep your skills polished. For instance, right now they're doing System Center Configuration Management. Adam Gordon's doing that. Azure SQL, MCSA Office 365, and more. I mean, for Windows Weekly listeners, this is awesome. You can see what's going on right now. Go to their on-air page, and they have 2 studios, adding 50 hours of content every week. CompTIA Project Plus, and installing and configuring Server 2016. See, that's right up our alley. There's a chat room just like ours, so you can talk with other students at the same time. You can play it on your Chromecast, on your Roku, on your PC, your mobile device. In fact, if you subscribe, they have a month-to-month, but they also have a yearly subscription that saves you money. And when they know you're kind of committed for the year, they'll let you download this stuff and watch it offline, which is really amazing. Their course library now has over 1,000 hours of content. And by the way, congratulations to IT Pro TV. Their Twitter feed just crossed 1,000 followers. In fact, if you haven't seen the video of them celebrating that. One low monthly subscription price. Of course, they're geeks. They make it easy to cancel when you get the cert. They don't want to trick you. It includes a lot of things, including the virtual machine labs, which mean you don't even have to have Server to learn Server 2016. You don't even have to have Windows. You just have to have an HTML5 compatible browser. You also get the Transcender practice exams free. That's worth $109. Even if you are enrolled in a program or studying with a book, this is a great thing to have. And the pricing makes it possible to do that. Lots of universities and businesses use IT Pro TV, including Harvard, MIT, UCSD, and Stanford. Go to itpro.tv/WW. You can upgrade your brain with the most popular IT certs. Premium subscription is normally $57 a month. You buy a year, you get 2 months free. But they've got a special offer here. I like this. Try it free for 7 days. You just go, you sign up with the offer code WW30, WW30. You will not only get a free 7-day trial, you also get 30% off the lifetime of your account forever. Always 30%. That makes it less than $40 a month or $399 for the entire year. That's around, what, 30-some bucks a month. That's nothing. Nothing. Much less than a book. itpro.tv/WW, the offer code WW30. So many people who listen to this show and others on the Twit Network have discovered IT Pro and have used it. We mentioned before Rodolfo. Literally within a few months of subscribing, he had the skills and certs to get a new job as a sysadmin. He got a better company, double the pay. Thank you, IT Pro TV. Congratulations to Rodolfo. itpro.tv, that's the website. Our special page, itpro.tv/WW. The offer code WW30 for 30% off forever. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. We're talking Winders on Winders Weekly. And now we get back to the original programming, which is already in progress. Yay, my Surface works.
Progress is an interesting word, Leo.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yep.
So we all got the firmware a little late. They said the 16th, got it the 18th.
It was funny. We got it right after Windows Weekly ended last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I knew it was I knew it was happening that week, and I was testing another device, so I didn't bring my Surface Book to New York. So of course I rushed home and installed it, and have been tentatively waiting for it to fail me ever since. But so far so good.
You know, it's so funny when you get snake bit. Like you can't believe.
You're never gonna never trust it again.
But I have to say, it wakes up fast. It actually, the camera even works a little bit better. Seems like the hello works better. I've not had one problem with detaching or losing the video or getting confused. The X on this eject button, and no hot bag. Fans go off. It sleeps properly. I mean, it seems to have fixed
Every time I close it, I
know.
Listen for the, or you kind of put your hand above it to feel for the heat, and it's fine. It's been fine.
So based on that, I mean, I know it's a pricey choice, and boy, at Mobile World Congress, there's some beautiful choices out there. But I would continue to recommend this. I think you.
Yeah, I mean, tentatively, right? I mean, I need more than 5 days to say, this is fine. I kind of threw out an article about it today specifically because I wanted to see what the readers had to say, because my experience is just kind of anecdotal, obviously.
Right.
I think it's safe to say there'll be future firmware updates. I mean, we're not done with those.
This was like a real firmware update, not the one.
This was the big one. Yeah, this was the big one, and this is the one we've been waiting for since, since October, really.
Yeah.
I thought your blog post, though, Paul, was interesting because I think if I read it right, you basically said you decided to reset the Surface Book.
Yeah,
to make it look
I
right.
did the same thing.
Did you?
Yeah. Remember?
Yeah, but
before the
here's
firmware
why.
came out, I thought, and it did work, by the way, that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I did that is because I was on Insider Fast, and because I didn't install the build Tuesday, it installed concurrently with a new build, which had come out also that week. And so it took 3 or 4 reboots and everything, and it wasn't working quite right. And I said, I can't judge this thing based on an insider build, especially a fast, fast-ring build. So I ended up just blowing it away, and it's interesting when you do that too. Just as sort of an aside, and this isn't Surface specific, but with Windows 10, unlike Windows 8 and every other version of Windows before it, the updates are cumulative. So, you kind of go right to the latest public build, and there's a couple of other little, small updates. And on a Surface device, you might have a firmware update or whatever. But it's a really nice process. It's really fast. It's pretty seamless. It's not a list of 186 separate updates you have to worry about.
Did you also update your Surface Pro 4? With the firmware update too?
Yeah, I did, yes. I didn't reset that one. Yeah.
Okay, because the reason I'm asking you about that is today I was talking on Twitter with someone who said he updated the Surface Pro 4 with the firmware update. Now his battery is lasting only half as long as before. I know. That was the first person I've heard really complain about this. But he claims there's a lot of people having this. I haven't heard from anyone else who is.
It's like when you buy a car and you see that the same car on the road all the time. I mean,
Right.
I don't know that there are a lot of people. I mean, I think and I see the same thing when there are big problems with Microsoft products. You tend to get a lot of emails.
Yes.
And the Surface stuff, I got a lot of emails. And since this update's been out, I've not gotten a lot of emails other than people saying, hey, this thing's out and hey, it seems to work. And, again, this is anecdotal, but based on the way things usually go in Microsoft land, this one looks pretty good. But I know Surface well enough to know that, look, there are going to be more firmware updates, and there'll be one that comes out in March or April, and it will say something like, targets an issue of limited set of users we're seeing about battery life or something. That's the type of thing I think we're still going to see. I think this is the way life is with these really complicated SoCs that we have now, the Intel chipsets, and the kind of interconnected nature of them, where you fix one problem and it seems to cause a little problem over here with something that shouldn't be connected to it, but because it's all bundled together, it kind of is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So far, so good. I just, like I said, it's only been 5 days, and I probably, if I had more time today, I might have actually switched my desktop back to using the Surface Book as my primary computer, just to really give it a much better work down. But I've been opening, closing. I've been using it out in the living room, opening, closing. And, like Leo was saying, trust is, it's hard to come by when you've been betrayed. It's going to take a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
What did they say? Go ahead.
The blog post about this was very odd.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What did they say?
Yep.
So Panos Panay blogged about this. He's the head of all of the devices group, the Surface devices group at Microsoft now. And when he blogged about this, the blog post is like, thank you for loving Surface and Surface Book. We're so pumped. We're excited. And we read all your comments. And so here's the firmware update. And thanks for being fans. That was it.
Yep. It really didn't address. In other words, like, it's possible if you were to scour the Surface blog, you might find one other post about firmware updates, maybe. Mm-hmm. But I think it's kind of notable that he wrote a post about it and then didn't really say anything about it, which I thought was just a little weird.
He's putting a nice gloss on it. Like, you don't want to say too much negative, right?
You don't. But I think some people, like one person immediately tweeted, wow, not even an apology, right? And
sure.
Should they have apologized?
This is
goes
kind
to
of
that thing we
can of worms,
about,
right? I know. If you say, hey, we know we screwed this up, or somebody screwed this up, then suddenly you open yourself up to class action lawsuits and
out there, there's 100% of Surface Book and Surface Pro 4 users, and there's X% of them who's had problems with this. We don't know what that is. Microsoft's probably never going to tell us. But what Microsoft can say publicly is that some number of users have reported these problems, and we hear you. Not everyone experiences it. I'm sure these things are both very true, and we fixed it. And you're welcome, and that's how they've chosen to address this. Like, I personally, because of the things I've written in the past, I don't necessarily agree with that approach, but I think for the reason you just stated, kind of the culpability thing, they've probably decided it was in their best interest not to go down a path of apologizing and admitting a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They did, though, post yesterday, I think it was, on the Surface for IT Pros blog, a post reminding people about the two different kinds of power management that you have in a Surface.
Now that they both work?
Yes. Connected standby, also known as Instant Go, for always on computing, and then disconnected standby for longer battery life.
Disconnected
and I think
that's cute.
These ideas have been around since Windows 8, right? These two.
Yes, but that's true.
It never really worked. Right.
The difference though is that Surface Book and Surface Pro 4 have this 6th generation Intel chipset, which actually supports a much lower state of sleep than has been possible with any other computers before. And this is what has been at the heart of this issue. And Microsoft, who knows? I mean, like, you can only kind of speculate, but obviously Microsoft is not the only company that shipped computers with this chipset in it. And Microsoft's not the only computer company that's had problems, but I think they're also, in many ways, it's been like the big high profile one for whatever reason. And it's possible that what you're going to see over the next few months maybe is that other PC makers, HP, Dell, Acer, whoever, will start enabling this deeper sleep that's only possible with this new chipset, and that they weren't actually doing it before, and maybe they had fewer problems for that reason. You know, because we know that a workaround for the Surface devices was to use hibernation instead of the deep sleep.
Right. So if you're confused by all this, go to the Surface for IT Pros blog, and there's a little 4-minute video where they walk you through this. Very well.
Oh, this is a video. I have to look at this.
I'm looking at the power options control panel right now. It's just like
Well,
any
well,
other
so
I've
that's the
seen.
thing.
It says battery plugged in. When
It
you want to
doesn't
turn off
show
the
you anything
display.
there.
When you want, oh, so there's something else that I should know? Because, by the way, I only have one plan to choose from. That's called balanced.
Right. That's how they do it with Surface. So I'd have to, let me look at that actually, because if you just look at power options, which is what you're looking at.
I am.
You're not going to see
select,
much, right?
Select plan. Balanced.
Yeah.
There's nothing to choose from here.
So if you change plan settings and then change advanced power settings, you'll get a pop-up dialog. And this one has real granular control over all of the stuff that is possible here. And just trying to see if they actually, it's hard to know like where or if this new ultra low, power sleep is in there, but there's like processor power management settings, obviously the different power buttons, what they do, what they trigger and so forth, whether USB can selective suspend, just see hybrid sleep, which is not a feature of Surface Book. Yeah, I don't really see anything in there, but
no, it's not. There's not much in here, really.
Yeah, they don't want you to screw with it. I mean, and that's the thing. And I think it's notable because
you could
I
choose what happens when the lid closes. When you press the power
imagine.
button.
I don't know the exact number, but there's some level of sleep states that are possible, like in an Intel chipset, right? And I assume that, and they've added one, right, with the 6th generation chips. These systems are designed to be kind of, not very, granular, but they didn't really provide you for a way to turn off level 0 and just use level 1 instead. And maybe that would have been more reliable. It's basically you're sleeping or not. And if you're sleeping,
right,
you're always using the most awesome kind of sleep.
Oh, good. So I'll just leave awesome sleep on. In other words, the defaults are probably what you want in most cases, right?
Yeah. Disconnected standby. That is, I have never heard that term before.
Yeah.
Is disconnected standby the new term for hibernation?
I think, no, I bet you it's what Apple calls power nap, which is a standby mode that allows it to periodically wake up to get mail, check network, things like that.
Oh.
I would guess, but I don't know.
Maybe that's interesting.
That's what I would guess.
I looked at that video, but so much has happened today, I'm kind of blanking on remembering it. But there's one of the power states is just if you just kind of want things to go on in the background. The other one is if you want it to be completely ready like a phone when you turn it on. So they're saying the disconnected one is if you don't really need, like when you open your PC, if you don't mind if it takes some time to sync up and get ready, right? And then the other is you want it to be always on, always available, and that's the one that's going to take more battery life, right? So
it's amazing they don't document this better.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this little video is pretty helpful. It's 4 minutes of your life you won't miss.
I mean, obviously they don't want people to think about this. In an ideal world, you get your Surface Book or other device. It just works.
Leave it on the default,
And what you notice is you open the lid and it just comes on. And you don't have to really worry about it. Your email has all been collected in the background because it works the way you were describing. But that's not how Surface Book has worked for some people, right? So for me, you close the lid and then it like heats up the bag and it makes it sound like a Cobra's in there. And so it's been kind of a different experience. I'm really eager to experience this thing the way it was supposed to work. So far, so good.
Yep.
I mean, they have this command line stuff in Windows, 8.1 and in Windows 10 that you can do for see what power configuration options are available. You can run a sleep report which provides you with a blistering amount of information, which to me was completely worthless. But you know, the information's there. But I don't, you know, I looked at, let me see, it's like Power CFG/A, I think was just to see what's available. And when I do that, it says, oh, this is not my Surface though, but on this machine that I'm using here, it says standby is available. Standby is state S3. Hibernate is available, which won't be available on Surface Book or Surface Pro 4 by default. Hybrid sleep is available, which I actually don't think is available on those machines by default, and then fast startup. And then the things that aren't available are standby S1, S2, and then something called S0, which is low power idle. And I wonder if that isn't that new thing that is part of 6th gen Intel. I do not know.
Watch the video.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
we prefer to not read the manual.
I know you just want to talk about it and not watch the video.
So, but does it work?
It's called Power Management for IT. What is it called? Power.
You want the name of the blog?
The video. Oh well, actually, the blog would be good because then that links. The
blog
to the
is
video.
called Surface for IT Pros.
See, that's going to be one of the reasons people don't see it is because I'm not an IT pro.
Right.
But I will look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the reason this is on this particular blog is that they're showing organizations how they can configure all of their systems to behave in a certain way.
See, they call this modern standby.
Yeah, they've changed the names of a lot of stuff here.
Not the old not your dad's standby. This is modern.
Yep. I think we can all agree that everyone hates the name Instant Go. I don't know why they went with that.
No one even uses that name, do they?
No, even
TVs
they call it Connected Standby First.
Remember when TVs, you'd have to turn them on and they'd warm up?
Yeah.
And,
my TV does that right now.
And then they added this instant on thing, which really meant never turn off, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So here's, if you'd like to know more, it's Microsoft Mechanics, Surface Power Management with modern
this is what I was just referring to, the Power CFG command line.
Yeah, Hibernate after on battery. Okay, wow. Power config /A standby. See, this is for IT professionals.
Yeah, this is what I was just reading off on this machine. Exactly what they're showing. And that must be on a Surface device because it does support S0, but none of the other sleep states. And that's what I'm saying. In other words, they didn't have the ability to fall back on a different sleep state. So if sleep doesn't work, you have to go to hibernate. There's nothing else you can do. And that's what happened to Surface Book and Surface Pro 4.
So in S3 sleep, the RAM continues to be powered, but not the solid-state drive, CPU, GPU, or anything else, or display.
Oh, and it's important to know where those things are in the system because...
now look how many drips we're getting. Power consumption, the drips are off, but watch the meter because here comes an email, connected standby. Yes, that's what connected standby is. It's this wake up to get email and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are drips.
Drips.
I wish I could make that sound, with your...
This is like the computer equivalent of a car that pulls up to an intersection and turns the engine off, and then when the light turns green, you start going, the engine
I have
comes on.
that car.
Right? It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. You know why they do that for is New York City, because I guess it's against the law to idle at stoplights.
Oh, nice.
Which is like crazy. I mean, I'm supposed to turn the car off and then turn it on again? It seems like that would use more toxic pollution, but...
well, not to mention that we all have this innate belief that harms the vehicle somehow, right?
Well, it confused the hell out of Lisa. She says, your car keeps turning off. I said, it's supposed to do that. But what? Yeah. Why? I don't want it to turn off. I'm driving.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is like that. You're exactly right. I bet you, though, at the end of it, it says, just leave it the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, for individuals, unless you've had to do anything to fix it, you just leave it the way it is.
Right. That's why it's on the IT Pro blog, right? They don't want most people tinkering with this. No.
They might, an organization where some number of people are docking their systems at night and leaving them in the building. They may not want it dribbling, stuff down and using power, right? Those people might want to configure this not to do that, and maybe that's what this is about. Look, this video is incredible. So we've seen a command line.
Yep.
We've seen local group policy editor.
Subgroup
right?
GUID.
And this is how you know. This is why you know it's not on the consumer
I
board.
just ran the power config POWERCFG/A on my Surface Book.
Right.
And
so what are the
says,
three
the
things?
following sleep states are available on the system: standby or S0, hibernate,
S0,
fast startup. S1, 2, and 3. The system firmware does not support this standby state.
Right.
So I can't do any of the other ones. So basically, it's very simple.
Yeah, but if S0 doesn't work, which was happening to a lot of people,
then you don't have a good choice.
Because hibernate doesn't kick in until X number of whatever minutes or hours later.
So S0 is that essentially what connected standby, right? Where you're getting your email and
yes. Okay, let's just say yes. Yeah.
Just say yes, Paul.
Yes.
Just say yes.
It is. No, but it is. I mean, I guess I was speculating that this might be unique to 6th generation Intel, but it might not actually. But yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah, it is the sleep state that Surface Book and Surface Pro 4 were having trouble with.
And I don't know what hybrid sleep is, but I can't do it. So I don't care, right?
Right.
The only new thing besides sleep and hibernate is fast startup, which presumably keeps it in a higher power state, and it just wakes up right away. And probably all it does is turn the screen off, right? You could do that granularly with settings in the past where you say, turn off screen after 10 minutes, but don't sleep the system and don't sleep the hard drives. Isn't that the same? Who knows? No one knows because it's a mystery.
Right.
We'll figure it all out by next week.
The default seems to work well for me.
That's good.
I think, God, I hate answering questions where I don't have the exact answer, and I feel like I've done that about 20 times today already. But
let's not do it. No, that's good.
Yeah.
You're right. No, that's the right thing to do. Somebody in the chat room said, connected standby is sleeping with one eye open. It's not restful, but you're ready.
Yep. That's actually how I sleep normally, which is why I have huge bags under my eyes.
I sleep standing up like a horse.
Yep, nice.
All right, moving right along. Sorry, Mary Jo has got a little frog in her throat.
I do.
All right, I'm excited about the new Huawei Mate. Have you seen that? That to me.
That was the only really pretty new Windows device, I thought.
The MateBook.
Well, Windows tablet, I should say.
I want to buy that. That feels like a Surface Pro that looks like an iPad.
An iPad, yeah. It's a pretty device.
It's not available yet, right?
I don't believe so, but it's, the problem I have with all this stuff, it doesn't matter which device you're talking about, HP, Dell, Lenovo, everyone is making these things that look like Surface devices. And you can look at each one and say, well, it's like a Surface whatever version except this, or it offers this 1 or 2 or 3 advantages over a related Surface device. I mean, it's sort of just another Surface device at the end of the day, And so I guess if you like the styling and you were in the market for a Surface or Surface type device, then
it's a little less expensive, not a lot.
Yeah.
It starts at $600. You know what is not good? It's a Atom processor. I don't think they have an i7 or an i5.
I don't remember anymore because there were so many, but I thought this device had a range of processor choices. I could be wrong about that.
Huawei's making nice stuff. I mean, they
they're making a
their
big
phone.
push.
That's the Nexus 6P is made by Huawei. They're Chinese, obviously. Who isn't these days? We're all a little Chinese.
Yep.
The keyboard is exactly like the Apple keyboard. It's I guess it's a little,
but it's slicker looking, isn't it? I mean, it's actually prettier.
Yeah, it's prettier because it goes all the way around, but it does that triangle stand thing, which means only one angle.
Yes, and it looks especially when it's folded up, it looks a lot like an iPad with a
leather cover or something.
Whatever those covers are called.
Yeah.
It looks very much like an iPad.
Yeah.
The keyboard looks really flat, though, doesn't it?
It does. Apparently, there's a lot of travel on it. Some of the reviewers said it's surprisingly usable. Good travel.
Yeah, it looks okay.
When I see that, I worry about my wrists.
Yeah.
Because I type a lot.
Well, look, she's got it in her lap.
Yep.
Yep.
We've seen Surfaces shown in laps as well.
I apologize. It is not Atom only. This is equipped with an iPhone. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh,
Sorry, 6th
M7.
gen. It's an M. Dual core, 3.1 gigahertz, 8 gigs of RAM, up to 512 gigabyte SSD. But
I mean, it's beautiful looking, but it's beautiful looking just like an iPad is beautiful looking, right? It's so similar, and I think this is the small problem I have with a lot of these Chinese device makers. Some of them are just so explicitly copying.
Yeah, this one is
another device, you know.
And because it's an M processor, you're not going to use this as your full-time PC, probably, right? Although,
well,
I
think a lot of people
M.
could.
I don't mind the M.
Yeah, you're not going to play a lot of games on it, that's for sure.
Right.
I don't know. What is this? It's probably a 12.5-inch screen.
Yeah.
Look, that's probably good for 90% of the people in the world, but for me, that's kind of a non-starter.
Was Microsoft there at all in Mobile World Commerce?
Define there,
They're
Leo.
there, right? They have a booth there.
They do have a booth.
They're there in the sense that they're everywhere.
Well, but if they have
they didn't have any big announcements, and so I think the big thing this year was that their partners had a bunch of announcements, especially HP, right, which announced that amazing, believe it or not, amazing Windows Phone.
Yeah, with Continuum.
Yeah,
and some juice.
With Continuum in a laptop form factor, which is really cool, right?
Yeah.
Wirelessly or wired connection to a laptop that has no processor, RAM, or storage, but has battery and a keyboard and a screen. You could leave the phone in your bag or your pocket or whatever and just pop open the lid on the laptop like an add-on and just get to work using your phone.
It's the Elite
kind of a cool idea.
HP
long time
Elite
coming.
X3. And I get.
So what do we think about this one? Because obviously there's some debate here over the use of Windows 10 Mobile and how does that work?
Well, I thought the most interesting thing about the X3 was the thing people weren't really talking that much about, which was HP Workspace. And the reason I think that's interesting is with Continuum, you can display Windows Store apps. Okay, that's good. But this device is for businesses, and businesses have all these legacy apps, Win32 apps, .NET apps. And so what this HP Workspace layer is going to do is it'll help you virtualize your existing apps without having to have them be rewritten to be Windows Store apps. And you can display them through either using Citrix underneath, or I think Azure Remote App is what's going to be underneath.
Yep.
So you take the existing virtualization plumbing, and then you can just run, if you have all your licensing in place, I should mention, you can run your existing apps, a catalog of existing apps on this device. So that makes it more interesting.
But those apps live up in a cloud infrastructure or in a data center somewhere. And so the big issue here, aside from the fact that a lot of the employees that you hand this phone to are not going to be too excited with a Windows Phone, is bandwidth, right? When the apps are not local, you are relying on a heck of a lot of bandwidth to make that happen. And it has next generation networking built in. It's actually fairly impressive if you look at the specs. But there's a big question there, right? I mean, around the viability of that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right now, HP won't say a whole lot about this right yet.
Yeah.
I know that I don't think that technology is all in place yet.
It's not. That's right.
Yeah. They're saying an update coming. Well, these phones and the rest of the ecosystem devices, I don't think are going to be out till late summer. But Microsoft, it sounds like there's going to be an update to the operating system, which I assume will be Redstone. And then there will be this HP Workspace app that will be required as well. So yeah, I'm curious too to see how well that works, because that is a very important piece of this if they really want to sell it to businesses that need legacy apps.
Right. First thing I asked them when I heard about this was, why not Intel? I mean, if this was an Intel-based device, you could presumably install desktop apps on it, and maybe when it was docked, you could run those apps, like it's a PC. I mean, why not And the indication I got was that they talked to Intel. They looked into other things too, by the way. They looked at Android, they looked at iOS, a variety of issues across the board. But with Intel, the issue was that they just weren't there yet for performance/battery life on a phone. That it just wasn't viable yet. And on the flip side, the processor they chose, this Qualcomm Snapdragon 820, in their words, was roughly the power of an i3/i5 processor. And so, that combined with readily available bandwidth, they felt, would put this thing over the top.
This really strikes me as, I'm actually very impressed by this. I mean, if Continuum's going to work, this is how it's going to work. And it strikes me as, because they're not stinting on the phone. I mean, it's a very nice phone. And so it strikes me as a response to BYOD for a company that says, look, we don't want you to bring an iPhone into the enterprise.
By the way,
we
Leo,
can't manage it.
That is exactly right. That's exactly what that is. It's exactly right.
So the employees will go, oh, okay, well, this isn't so bad. It's a nice phone.
Yep.
And then you can equip them with this.
No, I mean, if it was an iPhone, it might have been less of a problem. But
but an iPhone doesn't do
this. They are nice, though. We get to hold them in a preview event. And I mean, they're a 6-inch phone, so they're huge,
big,
but they're
big,
very well distributed weight. Like it felt really like a high quality.
It's thin and the materials are really nice. It's super high end. It's like 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of storage, micro SD up to, I think, 2 terabytes. He said, what do you call it? QHD. I want to say 2560 by 1440 screen, I think. Continuum wireless or wired. Nice, seemingly nice cameras. We didn't get to test that stuff. It's going to have a fingerprint reader and an iris scanner for logins.
This is the enterprise. This is for the enterprise. It just says, I just we need to give you a phone. It's not going to be a BlackBerry or a 950. And we don't want you to, this is a phone you could say you can't bring an iPhone, but you can have this. And I think if they got an extender in your office and an extender in wherever you go on a regular, but you travel to the home office, you plug into the extender. That's your desktop. This is the first time I've seen a Continuum, a sensible use.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, it allows them to distribute a single device instead of 3 devices or 2 devices, right? And so it's less to manage. I mean, obviously, you, the user, are carrying around like a keyboard thing, and there's still some stuff going on there. But from a management perspective, everything is in this little phone form factor. It's a cool idea. And by the way, it also solves the Windows Phone problem. Not in the sense that the apps suddenly appear per se, although the LOB apps and all that are there, but rather that they're not going to sell this thing at retail, and so they kind of get out of that game.
Product. Interesting. Is this? Did you get to play with the extender, the laptop part of this? Is it thin and light?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really nice.
And you don't have to have a dock, right? You could just do it wirelessly.
Right.
I think that's pretty actually cool.
It is cool.
And you nailed it, Mary Jo. You've got to have that layer that allows you to use your line of business apps.
Right.
And since sounds like they've solved that. I mean, you could do that with Citrix too, or some other kind
You can. Right. So the HP Workspace layer is like going to be on top of Citrix virtualization or on top of Azure Remote App, I think.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think that's very
it's pretty interesting.
Leo, let me ask you what you think of this theory, because all of us, Mary Jo and I and Daniel Rubino and Peter Bright, we're all there. And we're kind of talking about this and how does this make sense? And they chose Windows Phone, and it's a little weird. And I was thinking, when you look at the PC market, you think about a company like HP that makes dozens of models. And then divides those into hundreds and thousands of individual types of PCs. What could the best-selling PC at HP possibly sell in a year? 1 million units, a million something. Most of them probably sell in the tens or hundreds of thousands at best. In that world, this solution, this phone plus docking station plus mobile extender, if it sells in the tens or hundreds of thousands of units, it's doing really well compared to the other things HP already sells. And so when you think about it as part of this kind of ecosystem of PCs, which it really kind of is, and it's limited specifically to the commercial market, the economics of it start to kind of make sense, because every purchase is tied to, or virtually every purchase will be tied to that HP Workspace subscription, which is how they'll be basically selling that. You as an individual will probably be able to go to HP.com and throw down $1,000 or some crazy amount of money just to buy the phone because you got to have it. But I think for businesses, they'll get volume licensing deals because that's how that stuff works. And they're signing up for some annuity-based type thing.
Yeah. And this makes enterprise very comfortable, right? Because this is how you do business always. And it kind of takes away a pain point, which is this, God, they keep bringing in their own devices.
Yep.
So I think,
and those devices can't access the back-end systems that they're using.
No, I think it's a good enterprise play.
So they can get email, but they can't do the work.
Right.
Yeah.
This makes a lot of sense. And
There's
also, a lot of employees don't want to have two phones.
One elephant in the room, though. One big one.
Yep.
Verizon.
It's not going to work at Verizon.
It's so I saw people who were at Mobile World Congress saying Microsoft said it's going to be on Verizon, but when we talked to them, HP basically said, yeah, you know what, we'd love to have them, but I don't think it's going to be on Verizon. And Verizon's the main carrier.
I don't think it happens. I mean, and it's certainly not happening this year. But one of the things that
Verizon's business end, I mean, Verizon has a big Verizon for business. That's almost a different business than their consumer phone.
It'd be interesting if they could do a deal.
I think Microsoft and Verizon are going through the ugliest divorce in tech history, and that's why. I really think they just hate each other.
Yeah.
And I think this is tied to, Microsoft's strategy with Windows 10 Mobile going to, friendly carriers only, and that's AT&T in the United States, and T-Mobile to a much lesser extent. They're doing something interesting there, though, because obviously these same commercial customers have contracts with carriers, and they're doing the same kind of thing where they get volume licensing across all their devices. And so they're getting these phones certified around the world with with some of the major carriers, so that they'll be unlocked and they will be certified to work on those carriers. Like, you won't have to do anything screwy. If you have visual versus voicemail, it will probably work. You don't have to worry about all that kind of baloney. And they specifically said AT&T for the United States, and I think that was the only one they said, right?
It was, I think.
I think so.
That's bad because, I don't know how important Verizon is to business, but I have to think some businesses have Verizon.
I would imagine for some businesses it's very important, yeah.
You're not going to change carriers to this. Now,
well, you could have multiple carriers.
Is this what Surface Phone should be?
That's the thing. So we also all of us together collectively kind of debated that. And at one point, you go through the stages. I sort of thought, this thing is so impressive. I just don't see what Microsoft could do with Surface Phone. But actually, as it turns out, there's some things they could do, right? Sell it to consumers directly, Surface Pen, Surface look and feel. What am I missing? There's got to be other stuff. I can't remember, but
to me, it's the same parallel as there were a number of Windows Ultrabooks in the market when Surface Book came into the market, right? So there was still a place for it, right?
Well, right, but Surface Book is still fairly unique as a device type. It's the style of it and so forth. And so I suppose that if Surface Phone happens, there might be something to it with the form factor. What if it did turn into a tablet/computer? What if there was a Surface Book type docking station with a phone plugged into it, directly or something like that?
What if it worked with the
hub? What
if? The Surface Hub.
Let's spend 30 minutes.
What if you could go into the conference room and it has a Surface Hub in there, and suddenly that's your display. That's your continuum device.
Actually, that would work too.
Yeah, that's another way Microsoft could own it. Yeah, I don't. But I think you make the point, which is true. It's not going to stop them because somebody else is doing it.
Yeah.
There'll be a market for it just because it says Microsoft on the front.
Well, actually, the one thing that would stop them because someone else is doing it is that their overreaching strategy for phone is to let the partners take over. And when they said that last July, I think we all kind of laughed. But one of the funny things about this Mobile World Congress is that, at least at the time I wrote the article, there were more phones announced than any other device types running Windows. And, the HP one is by far the most impressive. But these other phones from Alcatel and many other companies primarily will probably be sold in other countries than the United States, and probably in places where Windows Phone does pretty well, relatively speaking, 8 to 10% market share or whatever. Honestly, 3, 4, 5 months from now, when the decision comes down for Surface Phone, no matter what it is, if they feel like the ecosystem is covering it, I actually think that would factor into a decision not to make Surface Phone, that they don't need to anymore.
Except if they are going to come out with a Surface phone by the end of this calendar year, which is what we keep hearing, they have to already be well on the way to making this.
Oh, they definitely are. I have no doubt of that. But, they killed Surface Mini after they started making them.
Right, yeah.
So
I think they're going to make it. I think they're going to make at least one. I keep hearing it's going to be a family of Surface phones.
Yes, that's what we need is more than one of them.
I know.
Okay.
But remember what Nadella last summer said, if it turns out that our partners, aren't coming through, aren't making them, whatever, we're willing to be the only one making them. So I think they're kind of on that trajectory right now, and let's see how the other phones sell.
By the way, if they treated Surface phone the way they treat Surface now, which is a premium device, high end of the market, really kind of pricing themselves out of most people's pocketbooks anyway, and leaving lots of room for their partners, I'd get behind that too. Something that was the quality of an X3, but consumer available, pure view camera would be another thing, by the way, they could add. Forgot. Yeah, that'd be great. And just kind of make it an aspirational device. We understand we're not going to sell a lot of these things. That's not the point. We're just trying to show what's possible with a Windows phone. That'd be great too.
We just aspire to do well.
Right. If it's just a flagship device that's meant for just true fans, that would be okay. I mean, it would be like the Nexus.
Like the Nexus, yeah. I don't have a problem with that. You have a problem with that? I don't got a problem with that. Yep. I got no problem with that. Anything else from Mobile World? By the way, we had full coverage, and it's been going on, and it's been great. Father Robert Ballasaire's there, and
I wish I was there.
He's having a blast. Ryan Schratt, he was talking to Ryan Schratt.
Oh, not at the show. I mean in Barcelona.
Yeah, right. Forget the show. Barcelona would be awesome.
Yeah. I would have ham coming out of my ears by now.
That was the title of our show yesterday. Is "Come for the ham, stay for the handset."
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I think that Barcelona should adopt that as their slogan.
Come for the ham.
Come for the ham, stay for the handset. But maybe not. I don't know. But if you want to watch that coverage, we have it all week on our specials feed, Twit Live. Specials is at twit.tv/specials with Father Robert. I think there's a daily wrap-up. Lots of stuff, including all of the things we just talked about.
Yeah.
He's, and Robert's really enterprise focused. So, I think there's a lot of enterprise stuff in there. And I think he'll probably have something to say about the
I'm curious what he thinks about the X3.
HoloLens. I can't believe there's news.
We haven't talked a ton on Windows Weekly about HoloLens.
We saw a lot of VR talk at Mobile World Congress. The Vive is going to be out for I think $800 later this year. LG announced glasses that look a lot like kind of those goggles that you see in in the cosplay goggles. Because the phone's not in them,
like a pod racer goggle.
Yeah, they have a cable to the phone, and so the goggles have their own screen. So that means they're lightweight. They actually look a little bit like HoloLens. Did we see any other AR stuff? I'm trying to remember.
At Mobile World Congress.
VR was huge. I mean, really was a big story.
Yeah, everyone seems to be really rallying around VR for whatever reason.
Because of gaming, because that's going to be the early adopters, right?
Yeah.
They're going to jumpstart it.
I don't know if you saw this on Twitter, but I made the comment that Neil Stephenson is probably somewhere just shaking his head and saying, "I told you so."
The inventor of the metaverse.
The metaverse
and Snow Crash, which is a great book to read. If you haven't read it. By the way, we were talking about No Man's Sky yesterday because we're all very excited about that. I'm disappointed it's not an Xbox title, but it will be on PlayStation 4 and PC, which is probably how I play it. And we're building this, we're building on the new screensavers, the ultimate VR gaming rig. It's a $5,000 PC just for the Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
And somebody said, and I think he's right, of course Kevin said this, of course No Man's Sky will be a VR title when it comes out this summer. Of course it will. That's the game. The idea is there's a procedurally designed universe with billions and billions, literally, of planets, and you land on a planet. Each one's got unique flora and fauna, You explore. It's very realistic because it's all done fractally and generated, and it's all deterministic. You give it the seed, and the whole world is built. And you looking around. It's not a first-person shooter exactly. It's a first-person explorer. But boy, that'd be great in VR. Really intriguing for a VR title. Okay, I'm sorry. I put everybody to sleep. So talk about HoloLens. By the way, when can I play Minecraft on HoloLens? I want to do that.
Oh, that's a good question.
Probably not for a long time.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah. So the news this week was our friend, who we talk about a lot on the show, the Walking Cat on Twitter, found a bunch of really interesting Microsoft materials, and they were about the HoloLens and about something called actiongram. Actiongram looks like this mixed reality video kind of thing that Microsoft wants some of the early adopters of HoloLens to create. So it's going to be kind of a combination of video and hologram to show people some of the possibilities of what you could create with HoloLens and get people kind of revved up about it. The materials he found said that Microsoft's going to launch actiongram next week, and that it already is in the hands of a number of testers who also have the HoloLens. So there's already a private group of people who have this. Microsoft has not yet shipped out the HoloLens developer kits to the general group that paid $3,000 a piece for them. But there is a group of people who have them already. Oh. In fact, one of the things he found this cool data sheet it had all the Microsoft guidance for people who are taking the HoloLens from Seattle back home. And it was all like, don't do this. Make sure you don't take it out of your bag at the airport. If they want to search you, go in private
He's
searches.
got a HoloLens. He's got a...
Yeah. Run.
He's going to augment our reality.
Wow. They actually gave you advice for getting through the TSA.
They did.
With
the
HoloLens.
thing is fairly fragile, you know.
Yeah.
What is this?
Every time you put one on, they're really, you know.
Really? Is that true?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's not good. That won't work.
Yeah. He found a couple of videos.
Look down at your fingers on my HoloLens.
Right. You thought it was bad to touch, like get smudges on a touch screen. Like,
Right.
no,
I know,
get
right?
Smudges on the thing, right in front of your face.
Oh, you touched it. You blew it. Oh, no.
It even had, like, I think it said, if they ask you what it is, tell them this. It was like a whole, the data sheet's kind of hilarious.
It's augmented reality. Perhaps you've heard of it.
No.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's really good.
Yep.
Here, put your head in this.
I don't think so.
No,
Right.
really.
Just do it carefully because this thing's really
Yeah,
bright.
don't smudge it.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, he found a video or two also of people showing off these actiongrams, and in those videos you get a quick glimpse of a couple of interesting things. You get to see the Holo Shell, which is like the UI for developers for HoloLens.
Oh, my God.
And this was the one I thought that was the most interesting.
Do I develop in command line in a HoloLens? A CNC?
No.
It's a shell
You
script.
use an air
I was going to say, right, exactly. You select the on-screen letters like this.
Oh, that's good.
You thought it was
Oh,
bad
yeah.
putting like characters on an Xbox controller.
But if you don't want to use an air tap, this was cool. There's a Bluetooth clicker that you can use.
Oh, boy.
Has
Which
a
I call the
finger loop.
castanets.
Has a finger loop, not a pen loop. It's a
'Cause you can
finger
play
loop.
like this.
Actually, that's the thing that Oculus Rift was going to do, but they aren't going to get it out till later this year. They have a little,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
little controllers, hand controllers.
Because, Paul and I both use the HoloLens, and I think one of the hardest things is the air tap. It's a hard gesture
Yeah.
to actually do.
Yeah.
And
It's,
so this is meant to kind of make it more, I think,
It's
just
like when
easier.
Kinect first came out. And you would try to, you kind of stand there and you're trying to get the circle to complete, and you're holding your hand there and it's not quite on and you're like, come on. And it's sort of like that. You're doing the little, the guy from The Shining,
Red Rabbit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I, for one, am excited about the HoloLens.
Yeah.
I don't care if it doesn't ever come out.
It doesn't ever have to come
It
out.
doesn't have to come out. It's just great.
Did you guys order a developer kit?
No,
at Twitter?
$3,000. No,
I know, it's expensive. Yeah.
No, I should though. I mean, how close? I might if it comes close to the experience you think that will be the consumer experience. But if it's,
Right.
I don't know.
So
I think
I should say something here about the consumer experience. Alex Kipman was giving a TED Talk last week. He's the guy who's the developer of HoloLens. And somebody asked him, I think it was Recode asked him, when are we going to see consumer? And he basically said, we're not going to make the mistake we made with Kinect, which is go out too early.
Which is releasing it.
Going out too early,
I
not having
love
content,
Kinect.
blah, blah, blah. So he kind of, he didn't say it's going to be years, but he definitely kind of threw some cold water on how quickly.
That's interesting to me because actually Kinect shipped with software. I mean, there was
fastest.
available.
Didn't they say the fastest adoption of any consumer
It
technology in
was.
the
Consumer
history
electronics product,
of mankind?
I don't actually. I mean,
did.
I think the go-to-market thing with Kinect was fine. I think the problem with it was that the tech was a little early.
Yeah.
And it didn't have any staying power. It was, and the Wii had been around for a while, and the Wii was kind of interesting, and the Wii sold very, very well, and then it just dropped off the face of the earth. And the Kinect had a much shorter shelf life. I mean, I think it was a year there, maybe 15 or 18 months, and that was kind of the end of that. And it was almost like they didn't get the memo because when the Xbox One came out years later, they tried to force Kinect down everyone's throats, and that was one of the big mistakes they made at launch.
Yeah.
Right. So the idea is they sold a lot of Kinects and then no one used it really. So they don't want to have that happen with HoloLens, right? They don't. They could probably put the consumer version on sale right now, and a ton of people would go buy it. But they want to make it a good experience, and they want people to keep using
That's fair.
it.
I mean,
Right.
you do
Pretty
well.
expensive though. I don't know. I mean,
Right.
I'm not sure what they would sell, but
Yeah. Same.
yeah.
What? How much? 13. Well, 3,000
We don't know how much-
now, but we don't know.
3,000 for developers,
Yeah.
right? But we don't even know what you get in a developer kit. Like, what
No, but
you
look
get the
at,
goggles.
What's the
What else do you-
Jeez, I'm losing my mind. The VR stuff that's out now, or that's coming out anytime now. The
The
Oculus,
Oculus Rift, and what's the other thing they just announced? The HTC thing, the Vive, or whatever.
Meta.
Yeah.
So
Those
some
are very expensive. It's several $100.
Yes. Yeah.
And they require another device,
Yep.
which is itself $1,000
Right.
plus.
Actually,
couple
that's a good
thousand.
point. You're talking $1,500 minimum.
Yeah,
For the Oculus,
for a
which-
standalone device like a HoloLens. I mean, $3,000 might be the price.
It's
I mean,
not that bad. Well,
that might be.
$18.99.
Yeah, it's expensive.
That's kind of where
either
you got to
way.
hit it, I think. It is expensive, but if it's a standalone device, that's
Yeah. Yeah, you got to remember it's everything. You don't attach it
right.
to a
There's
computer.
no
It's the
PC. It
whole
is
thing.
a PC.
Yeah,
That does kind of explain the price a
it
little bit.
raises the price. Yeah. Which, by the way, I actually think a consumer version of HoloLens should not be that. It should be something you connect to a tablet or a PC. It should be a little, it should be a consumer device.
Right.
And maybe that has something to do with it.
I actually feel like it's not a matter of titles. It's a matter of having, I guess to a degree it is. It has to do something, but
Yeah.
it's really of having a product that is more than a mail.
It's
mail
not a
slot.
demo. It's a
Yeah.
mature
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah. Because I think that's
So
part of the problem.
I think going to market the way they are actually makes sense in the context of this thing, that they're going to go after these verticals. It's going to be a hand-holding experience. I've sort of likened it to the way they used to sell data center, where Windows Server Data Center was not something you could buy at retail, although, by the way, it is today. You would buy it through a reseller. You would buy it through a PC maker or a server maker, in this case like Dell or somebody, and you would have people going to your place on site to help you get it up and running.
Right.
It was a real kind of white glove experience.
Well, you can't do that with HoloLens.
Well, I think it's going to be something like that. I actually think the first HoloLens deployments are going to be big places with lots of money, and it's going to be like when I got cable on day one in Phoenix, and these white-suited, bunny-looking guys showed up, and it was like computer science is happening here.
Step away from the cable box, sir. It's,
Yeah. No, I mean, it was like an all-day thing.
Yeah. Really?
So, 15 plus years ago.
You were
Or
really
20
old.
years.
When we first got cable, it came with a chauffeur and a mechanic.
It was the first mass deployment of cable in the United States.
Was it really? Wow.
Yeah.
I think
Phoenix was flat. It made it easy.
Right.
I
remember. I think we got. I was in the South Bay. I think we got the first cable modems very early on.
Yeah. I used to have a friend,
home.
you know, everyone was connected on the same network. So I used to have friends who would jokingly print stuff onto my printer.
Yeah, funny.
Yeah, you'd wake up in the morning and it'd be like porn coming out of the printer. Those are the good old days.
Those were the good old days. Let's see here. Windows. Let's do some Windows 10 stuff.
Yes, let's.
Why not? It is Windows Weekly, after all.
It is.
Where would you like to begin?
Well, let me just blow through the build stuff so she can talk about the more important stuff. Because over the past week, we've gotten 4 builds for PCs and phones, 2 each. And so originally in the notes, we had stuff about last week's builds. And then today, just before the show, they announced new builds for both PCs and for mobile.
Is this all fast ring or?
Yeah, it's all fast ring. The stuff that is, you know, coming up from behind is, you know, moving forward to slow ring as well. But I think the most notable thing that's happened over the past week maybe is that the 2 Windows 10 mobile builds we've seen are Redstone era builds, right? So the very newest stuff. And they're only going out to a subset of phones. These are the phones that shipped with Windows 10 mobile to begin with. So obviously the new Lumias, the Alcatel was just added. Missing one, but you know, they're slowly bringing in phones to the list. So it's still kind of a limited set of devices you can test it on. My computer right now is sitting poised, Leo. As soon as this podcast is over,
go ahead, do it now.
Didn't do it.
I'm gonna hit the reboot button or whatever it is.
That's true restraint that you didn't do that.
It was well, you know, I got burned that one time, right? So.
That one time?
Well, one time. One time before the show, I had like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And I said, "There's no way this is going to take 35 minutes."
No, how could it?
And we started a little late, so I was lucky because it wasn't going to work. It didn't make it.
By the way, that's why we start late every single time.
Thank you so much, Leo.
Just in case
very nice
you're installing something.
So I don't know. As far as new stuff, I mean, I don't know that there's anything important to point out. Because a lot of it is just, you know, fixing issues. I mean, the PC build that went out today is really just fixes for problems that were in the previous builds. The Windows Mobile build, they added, they re-added the history tab to the People app, which I actually get on the previous build too. They added visual voicemail to the 950XL. Nothing major, you know, but it really is. I mean. The first 12 to 15 months of Windows 10 development, right, pre-release development included, they used to talk a lot about how they were going to speed things up a lot, and it never happened, you know. And a month ago, they said, "Yeah, we're going to really speed these things up." And yikes! Like it's really hard to keep track of the builds. There's just so many of them now, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
But now the good stuff.
Yeah. So this is an interesting little tidbit.
The good stuff.
Another good leak. And this was I don't even think this was a leak. This was kind of like when that Microsoft guy went to Israel and blabbed about the HoloLens. Here's another Microsoft guy who went and did a webinar and talked about the future of AppV, which is Microsoft's virtualization technology. And kind of blabbed a lot of things. He talked about, hey, guess what? We're going to bundle the AppV client into the next version of Windows, and we're going to have it in the first Redstone release. So Microsoft hasn't talked about Redstone releases or that there are 2 of them really coming this year. And this guy just kind of went all out, and he's like, hey, here's what we're going to have. AppV is going to be built into the enterprise version of Redstone's. Here's what's going to be in Redstone 1. Here's what's going to be in Redstone 2. And then he started talking about Project Centennial, which is that Microsoft bridge to allow .NET and Win32 apps to be put into the Windows Store. And he's like, hey, you know, here's how Project Centennial is going to be different from AppV built into Windows. I mean, he really went all out. So, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff here. I think it's the plan of record. Microsoft wouldn't comment on all the things he said. But it's kind of interesting because right now AppV isn't built into Windows 10 Enterprise. You buy it on the side, basically. It's part of MDOP, which is the Microsoft Desktop Optimization Pack. By building it in, it means people who have the Enterprise version will be able to automatically stream their apps to their Windows releases because the client will already be built right in. So yeah, we think now we know that is probably going to be a release, one of the features released in Redstone 1 for enterprise users. AppV built right into the operating system.
And
how do you like them apples?
Yep. If you don't know, I mean, AppV is a way to package Win32 apps into a single kind of a zip type package and deploy them to a desktop. And you don't need like a host, or I should say, a guest virtual OS like you would with previous virtualization solutions. And I remember years and years ago when they first started showing this stuff off, I was like, guys, why don't you this shouldn't be for enterprises only part of MDOP. Why isn't this just the app model in Windows? Like and it's very close to what they're doing in the store when they bring the Centennial, the Win32 apps coming to the store. Is that the right name?
Yep. Centennial. Yep.
Very close to that, same back-end technology. And just a way to make Win32 apps cleaner in the sense that they're not spewing DLL files over your computer. And, more reliable. It's like a one-click uninstall. And more secure because they can't stamp all over each other's memory. They're actually isolated from each other.
Boy, I like this. I actually think that's a great idea.
It's an awesome idea.
Yep.
And it really solves a problem because, Microsoft has modern app platforms, mobile app platforms based on AppX, which is another way of packaging apps. But there's all this legacy stuff out there, and there's all these different ways of kind of bringing that stuff forward, or and doing it in a way that makes sense. And the the X3 with its it's not virtual, with its remote desktop type functionality is one way, but this is another way. Because not everyone's going to rewrite their apps. Right. There are some apps that just need to kind of move along, and rather than worrying about Windows versioning issues and whether it works in new versions of Windows, you kind of package this thing with an AppV, and it will just work. Going forward, it's a neat idea. Making it in Windows is a nice step, but of course it's Windows 10 Enterprise only because Microsoft, But
well, also because who really cares about running all those line of business things?
Well,
I mean, you could say maybe it should be in Pro, right?
Yeah, that's what. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
in other
next
words,
year.
In a BYOD scenario, you could have your own Windows 10 computer and you could run these work apps, but you can't because they're only licensed for Enterprise. But yeah. Oh, look, they're really putting it in box in Windows is a huge step. This is something I literally asked about whenever they first started talking about AppV 10 years ago, maybe at least 8 years ago, something like that, a long time ago. So that's good.
What does that mean, going in box?
It means it's part of Windows. It ships in
built
Windows.
in.
Okay. Sorry.
Building it in.
That's Microsoft
just because they
jargon,
can't say something simply.
Yeah. It's going in box.
Well, it's a good word because it's not also used with email at all. So
right.
it's not.
It's not confusing in the least.
It's a smart term to use.
Maybe if they put a space, going in box, because that's right. That's what it is.
Going
right?
in the
It's
box.
going in the box.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll send you a Schedule Plus so we can discuss it.
Good. Yeah, because I like DocX. AppV.
Yep.
This is kind of cool. I think now, is this business only? You said because I think consumers could really benefit from this, right?
Yeah,
I do too.
Right now, this is Win 10 Enterprise. It sounds like.
But you know what? Something related to this is going to benefit consumers, and that's the Centennial stuff. Like if you think about apps like iTunes, Apple is never going to write a universal app version of iTunes ever. There's no way. Google will probably not do a version of Chrome. Adobe's doing stuff with Microsoft, so you never know about Adobe. But the ability to package these kind of legacy Win32 desktop apps in a way that makes them safe and easily distributable and easily removable and all that stuff is actually very compelling. And it's just the ability to, I'm not saying it could ever happen for those particular apps, but if you could get iTunes through the Windows Store and just have it be a simpler experience of acquiring it and getting rid of it and using it, and it would also be safer, not that we've seen a lot of issues with iTunes per se from a security standpoint, but whatever. I mean, I think that benefits everyone, and it's also a way for a developer like Apple who's not interested in universal apps to allow their things to work on modern platforms and not have to worry about it. It's not really a lot of work for them to do. It just works. It's just something. It's really easy. Yeah. And so it is something that can benefit end users. And I wonder about Rise of the Tomb Raider, or the Gears of War Ultimate Edition that's coming out. These are games that are also available on Steam. And so what's the difference of, there's a Win32 version of the app and there's a universal app version of it. I mean, what's the difference really? I mean, isn't most of that stuff the same? It's got to be, right? They didn't rewrite it. I mean, so somehow this thing was packaged into a universal app. It's not Centennial, I've been told, but it's achieving the same end result. It's a humongous product, but it's something that's super easy to install, time consuming, super easy to remove, and it's not going to destroy anything else in your computer because it's not spitting files all over the computer. So it's still modern. You know, games could do this, applications could do this. Enterprises do it with AppV. I mean, that's the point of AppV. They're the ones who package those apps, but the app makers could package them too. And it would benefit, it would be easy, and it would benefit users. Now we will sing Kumbaya.
No, but this is the kind of thing, I mean, that makes a huge difference in security.
Yeah, yeah.
And just reliability, stability.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have Windows 10, you know, you try apps and you install something and it's garbage and you right-click on it somewhere and start, and you choose uninstall, it works great.
Yeah.
In the old days, you know, with legacy apps, it's tough. And in Windows 10 it's tough too. If you were to, you know, if I right-click on Google Chrome and I choose uninstall, you know, what happens is you go to the Programs and Feature Control panel, you got to find the app on the list. It's it's the old school way. And Chrome, like all these other desktop apps that I have on my computer, you know, it's DLLs and it's skunk.
It's a mess.
You may not actually get rid of it completely when you uninstall it, you know.
They're going to replace the registry next.
Yep. Object oriented, I heard, Leo.
The file system will know what you want before you want it. All right. Let's take a break. Then we'll talk about mobile. We'll talk about cloud services. And then we'll talk about Xbox desserts last, kids. But first, I like how we always do that. We always make dessert last. But first, we'll have more with Windows Weekly in just a moment. But first, a word from FreshBooks. Are you a freelancer? Do you run your own business? I know that you're not, right? So it's the 24th. Means you got 5 days to the worst time of the month. Invoice time. It rivals pay the bills time for the worst time of the month. But, you know, if you don't send out the invoice, you don't get paid. And I remember what a pain it was. You fire up Excel to get all the expenses all in line. And I had to use complicated stuff because I had to bill people in Canada. So I had to do a currency conversion. And then, of course, Microsoft Word, you do your invoice and, you know, then you print it and you mail it. And it's just in hope someday that you'll get a check. Then I found out about FreshBooks and my life changed. This was 10 years ago when I was still going to Canada to do Call for Help. Started using FreshBooks, beautiful looking invoices. I could still mail them. FreshBooks would stamp them, print them, and mail them, but most of the time I would email them. Clients preferred that. And on the email is a button that says pay. Pay Leo now. And they can pay it with any of their services, which means that, you know, bill paying time is not so fun for them. It makes that easier, and they like that. In fact, study shows that on average, FreshBooks users get paid 5 days faster than everybody else. And if they are slow to pay, FreshBooks sends out nice automated reminders that are very effective. It's just lovely. In fact, you can even get paid up front now. This was always a problem for me, was expenses, and I'd out of pocket for a couple of months. More if I forget to, you know, file my expense report. Now you can request a deposit in FreshBooks, and clients love it, and it just solves the problem. No more covering costs out of pocket. You don't have to wait till the end of a project to get paid. It just happens. And by the way, those expenses are much easier because you use the FreshBooks app. You take a picture of the receipt. It automatically gets it into the invoice. So you throw away the shoebox. If you do time and hours, you bill for hours, the app will keep track of your hours, divvy it all out. You can even do things like use automatic, the thing that we talk about for your car will automatically go into FreshBooks and get your mileage in there. It just automates the whole process, makes it so simple. And now for people who go into people's homes or place of business to do work, you know, you do drywall or whatever, and you go in, you can use the FreshBooks app, create an estimate, show the client, get approval, do the work, show them the invoice, all still on the phone. You haven't left the premises. And then here's the best part. You whip out the FreshBooks card reader, which is an EMV-capable reader. You put it on your phone, your iPhone,
and of course they can swipe it, but it handles chips too. So you can dip the chip or swipe the stripe. They pay you right there. All the receipts get emailed out automatically. It's so cool. FreshBooks, you got to check it out. Here's the deal: 30 days free, right now. Go to freshbooks.com/windows. freshbooks.com/windows. Sit down, play with it a little bit. Now I know there's always you feel like, oh, I'm not going to learn another thing. No, this is really the opposite. This is like it takes the work off your plate. It makes it so much easier. You're going to love it. It's not complicated. It's easy. freshbooks.com/windows. 30 days free of Windows Weekly. And if you do me and Paul and Mary Jo a favor, when they ask you, how did you hear about this? Say, I heard about it on Windows Weekly. We thank FreshBooks for their support. Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley, they're both lovely people. Oh, Cyanogen was at Mobile World Congress.
Like, for instance, Cyanogen.
Like Cyanogen. No, actually, I'm interested in Cyanogen. I was going to mention something about cloud services, but I won't. Cyanogen was at Mobile World Congress. I know they talked about that. They became known. They're kind of hackery at first, right? Making alternative ROMs for Android devices. Then Microsoft put money into them. Now it's the new thing. It uses Bing. It has Microsoft apps built in. And they're doing even tighter integration, right?
Right.
What's the story, Morning Glory?
Well, since I'm the resident Android person now, I guess I should.
Are you still using that thing?
I am.
Really? Are you kind of coming to like it a little bit?
I'm getting more used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I'm ready to say I'm no longer in the 1.1%. I'm still there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cyanogen.
Cyanogen. Oh, that.
At Mobile World Congress, Cyanogen announced this new mod platform, not to be confused with Cyanogen Mod or the ROM mod thing.
Oh.
This is something a little different. This is a way that they're allowing developers to take advantage of their APIs. So one of the first developers to do this is Microsoft. And we knew Microsoft and Cyanogen had a partnership. We just didn't know exactly the form that would take. And now we're finding out. So the mod platform is going to let other phone makers and carriers pick up things like a Skype mod and a Cortana mod and a Hyperlapse mod and build them right into their own phones and services if they want to. So we knew Microsoft had this deal where they were putting some of their apps on Cyanogen OS, but we didn't realize how deeply integrated this all was going to be. Yeah, so there's the Cortana one, the Skype one. There's a OneNote mod, which is kind of interesting. Truecaller for spam ID blocking, and some social lock screen mods too that Microsoft's working with them on. So it's kind of interesting to see how that's evolving, that partnership. That was, I believe, announced at Mobile World Congress this week. There you go, Cyanogen. Cyanogen Weekly.
Huh.
Yep.
I like it.
That's where it's heading.
I love it. I don't know why, but I love it. What is Sprightly? Have you been using that?
I have not.
Installed it. I haven't used it. Microsoft Garage released 2 apps for Android this week, and Sprightly to me is the less interesting of the two. But it's basically a content creation app for small and medium-sized businesses that only work off of devices, and so you don't have a PC with Print Shop 2016 or whatever these companies are using these days to make digital content or whatever, and it allows you to make little brochures and things like that. So it's kind of interesting, but far more interesting, I think, is the Microsoft Hub keyboard app, right? And so we know that Microsoft just bought SwiftKey, and we also know that Microsoft has replacement lock screens and launcher screens for Android. Now they have at least two keyboard replacements for Android. And what this one does is it adds a bar above the keyboard where you can pull in content from some other apps. And so there's a bunch of interesting things, but one of them is a multi-item clipboard. And so you can go to different apps and you can copy things into the clipboard, but it stores them all in a list. And so when you go to paste into another app, you don't have to go back to an app and copy. It's all still in there in the list. And so you can kind of choose from the list of items that are in there. There's one for accessing. You can search your documents in Office 365, only the business-oriented versions for now. You can search your contacts, and you can send contact information to people that way. And it's just kind of a neat way to kind of short circuit what I think are very limited ways to multitask on mobile devices, right? That, you kind of, on Android, you have that button at the bottom of the screen. You can, click to bring up all the apps, and you can choose the app, you go back and forth. And this is a way to get to data in other apps without having to.
It is.
Without having to leave the app.
It doesn't have autocorrect, so I feel like it's like they've got more to do before it's going to be my everyday keyboard. But I really think, well, how often do you see like a new idea in keyboards? It's kind of interesting.
Yep.
And by the way, if they were to combine this functionality with what they already have in that SwiftKey thing, I mean, now you've got this kind of awesome keyboard that does everything. It's kind of a cool idea. So anyway, it's available for testing. I mean, it's easy to switch back and forth. You can kind of enable it, and if you know how keyboards work,
it even has a button to say, use the other keyboard. I'm tired of this one.
Yeah,
you can leave them all enabled. You can go back to the normal, Google keyboard or SwiftKey. I
forgot they bought SwiftKey, so this could be a part of SwiftKey eventually.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I forgot that part
because I think this is a great idea.
Yeah,
because once you use it, you're like, this. Yeah, this actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yep. They did one other Android app we forgot to mention. Did you see Kaizala? Kaizala?
No, I did not.
What is Kaizala?
Kaizala. It's an app, a productivity app from the Microsoft Garage, just for Android, also for tracking things like bills, jobs, locations using chat. That was another kind of interesting one. That's one of these hybrid things.
Who's chat? Like what chat? Like how chat? Chat? Like chat?
You can go to the Google Play Store and click on this.
Kaizala.
It says Kaizala, chat, act, and do.
Chat, act, and do.
Chat, act, and do.
Chat, act, and do.
Right. What?
Yeah.
This is really strange.
Hello.
A lot of these apps are like this. It takes you kind of look at it and you're like, what is going on here? It takes a little while to kind of get into it.
I've got an idea. We'll make
That's
an
what
app
the Garage is.
that will do chatting, acting, Kaizala?
Yes.
If you just search for Microsoft Garage, it's right on there.
Actually, that's what you probably should do, right? Because then you get all the cool apps.
Yep.
Microsoft Garage.
I did not try this one out either.
I didn't even see this one.
Yep.
Wow.
It's interesting to me how many of the Garage apps are for Android.
Yeah, more and more of them are.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird because each platform has some little advantage, but if you're into these Garage apps, a lot of them are on Android.
Next lock screen, Mimicker Alarm.
Yep.
I don't know what that is. Picture.
Well, that was a pick a while back. So Mimicker Alarm, it gives you a game and you have to play the game. Remember you have to take a selfie or
Toss Up. Journeys and Notes, Work Items Studio, Sprightly. Metro Themes launcher. Wait a minute. Here's a launcher that looks like your Metro launcher. Mary Jo, you need this. That's not by Microsoft, but it's Ankitas Apps. Metro's theme launcher. Cortana. Evan. Free. Now I'm getting... Somehow Microsoft Garage got me into a list of programs that aren't just by Microsoft. So I still can't find Kaizala, but I'll find it.
It was right on the... front page of the Garage thing. If there's like a featured projects.
Oh, that's what I need. Is like the Garage.
Here's how it's described inside the app. They say you don't need a computer, laptop, or server. Just start a private chat with people in your business, and you can talk about things like creating and assigning jobs, request availabilities on future dates, share attachments. So you do it all within this chat app.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, but you have to use a special app. You can't just do it in any old.
It sounds like you use this as the chat, but it's very focused on productivity stuff.
These are going to be chat bots that go into any chat, right? And then you can do things. That's the new app platform, I'm convinced, or one of them. All right, Kaizala, I'll find it.
Apparently it means what's up in Indian.
What's up? Okay.
It means WhatsApp in Indian.
Not compatible with Android 5.1 apparently. Is it Karzala or Kaizala?
Kai.
Kai. K-A-I.
K-A-I-Z-A-L-A. I had never even heard of this.
It's not in my app store for some reason, but I have.
Anyway, there's another one. There's another one for you.
Yeah. But you know what there isn't? Another one bites the dust. No more Nestle's Qik for you.
No.
I used Qik, Q-I-K.
Yep.
Before Periscope, before there was Meerkat, there was Qik. It was a
Before
live
Skype
video
bought 'em.
streaming app. And then Skype bought them.
Yeah.
And now Skype's killed them.
Yeah. Skype came out with this Qik thing. It wasn't the same Qik, I don't think. It was Skype Qik, a video chat app they came out with, I think a year ago or so.
And no one used it.
Probably no one used it. And now they're saying a lot of those features that were in Skype Qik are being integrated right into the Skype apps themselves. So they don't really need it anymore. And so if you used it and you saved any video messages in there, get them out before March 24th because they just go after that.
Apparently, Kaizala is not available in the United States.
Weird.
And the language is Marathi.
Oh.
So there.
But I saw it in there.
Yeah, I can't find it. And somebody in the chat room said, no, not available in the U.S. But that's fine. There's plenty of other things you can do. Or not.
Yes.
Microsoft is doing a premium. So last week we talked about Outlook.com coming out of beta.
Right.
And the new Outlook.com. And everybody has it, right?
No.
Leo, I don't think anyone has it.
I shouldn't time that while you're drinking.
Despite an announcement to the contrary.
I think I know two people who have it.
Okay, just checking. Okay.
The new Outlook.
I thought maybe it was just me.
I still don't have it. It's irritating.
I don't either.
I just thought it was me. No. I don't have Kaizala either, though, so what's new? So now is this a paid, like you pay for Outlook?
Right. So I mentioned this just in passing in last week's show because I was just kind of investigating it. But it turns out there is something that Microsoft's privately testing with a group of people called Outlook.com Premium. They used to have this thing called Hotmail Plus that was a paid version of Hotmail without ads. Yeah. But this sounds a little different from that because there already is an ad-free Outlook.com that you can get for $20. But this sounds like something that's a little bit different because one of the things they're talking about adding to it is they're bringing back the full custom domain support as part of the premium version.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that
remember
too.
When they they started winding that down last year, or actually in 2014. They said
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't add new users for custom domains using Outlook.com. So they're actually testing right now whether they want to add that back. And if they do, they might take out the middleman and Microsoft would be the manager of the ones procuring the domain. I don't know what else they're thinking about putting in Outlook.com.
A registrar?
I don't know how that would
they
work.
were before. I don't quite understand this because I use this service.
Yeah.
And I don't have any right now. I moved Thurrott.com off of Outlook.com at one point. And because I used to move it around, it wasn't my primary domain for email, and I was testing Google Apps, and then they killed Outlook.com custom domains, and I was like, wait a minute. So I mean, if they bring this back, I would bring it back to Outlook. I'd be happy to be back on Outlook.com, but
but new.
No word on how much it would cost, when it'll be available, if it will be available. They're just testing it now with some people.
Okay, and someday soon we'll get the new Outlook user interface, I'm sure. Yeah.
Let's hope.
How would you know? Would it say, welcome to the new Outlook?
It looks really different.
Yeah, you'll know.
It
looks like Office 365, like OWA or...
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay, just checking.
No. Plus, you get a bunch of new features that we don't have in Outlook.com now, like the airline reservation automatic recognition or airline flights, I think it is. There's a whole bunch of things that are in Office 365 Outlook that we don't have in Outlook.com that they're going to be bringing to us so that the two different Outlooks start looking more the same. Outlook looks like Outlook.com or vice versa at that point.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Let's talk about Xbox. Come on. We put it off long enough.
Finally.
Squirt a little whipped cream on me, big boy.
So I was thinking about this over the past couple of weeks, and I guess there's some controversy around this. But when they announced that the game Quantum Break, if you pre-order it on Xbox One, you get the Windows 10 version of the game for free. I thought that's really interesting, because they do these different things on different games. Like remember Fable Legends, I think it's called, is the game where you can do cross multiplayer, where some people could be on Windows 10, some people could be on Xbox One, and they're playing in the same game. They tested this back in the Xbox 360 days as well. I think there was only 1 or 2 titles that ever worked this way. They also are doing, they're starting to bring AAA titles to Windows 10 as well. So Rise of the Tomb Raider being the first one, Gears of War Ultimate Edition will be the second one probably. And I think there's a kind of a glimmer of a strategy in here where Xbox One is selling better than Xbox 360, but it's being outsold by PS4. And so they've kind of changed the way that they measure success with Xbox now, right? They're talking about engagements on Xbox Live and all this kind of baloney. But, there's some interesting reality behind it because Windows 10 will have hundreds of millions, billions eventually of users. The Xbox One at best will have some tens of millions of users. And so how do you expand this platform? You make it really good on Windows. It's something people like me have been asking Microsoft to do for years and years and years. And there have been half-hearted attempts in the past. You might recall Halo 2 on Windows Vista. The original Gears of War came out on the PC. There was something called Games for Windows Live, which we're all going to forget ever happened because it was terrible and we're still scarred by it. And I think by actually integrating Xbox Live into Windows, you make Windows kind of a superset of Xbox One. And I think that's really smart because, computers can, of course, have much bigger or high resolution displays. They can be expanded. They can be replaced very easily. And and you don't have to be kind of like a hardcore gamer to appreciate that kind of stuff. When you can plug in an Xbox controller to a Windows 10 PC or tablet, you could stream games from your Xbox if you want to do that, or just play games on the Xbox. If they're really easy to install like they are on Xbox, which they are through the Windows Store, if they work consistently, which is still an open question, I think that's kind of a cool, unique thing that Microsoft can do for Xbox. It's sort of the continuum, if you will, of Xbox. It's the unique differentiator that's really only possible on the Microsoft side. And so we'll see how it evolves. But I think there's some strategy there. It's kind of interesting.
I got a big update last week, I think, 3-point-some gigabytes.
Oh, on the Xbox One?
On the Xbox One.
Yeah, I got to go look at this because there's a big list of improvements, and most of it is not super interesting.
It's not like the big December.
No, it's not like it doesn't really change the UI. But the big one they're talking about is this party improvement one. And when you bring up the Xbox guide, which now slides in from the left side of the screen, you can see a party if you're invited to a party, but you can now peek into the party and see who's in it, and that might help you determine whether or not you want to join the party.
You told us we'd get that party peek, right?
Yeah, we talked about it in January, but now it's actually out.
Okay.
Yeah. There's an Xbox accessories app that's on, I think it's on both Xbox One and Xbox app, for Windows 10. Bunch of stuff. I mean, I don't think any of it's actually particularly huge, but this is the big, the first big update they've done in 2016. They didn't do any in December or January, I believe. And so now they're kind of ramping up again.
Joe, what do you hear about the big Xbox event tomorrow? Do you know? What do your sources tell you?
So tomorrow there is a press event for Xbox One.
I like that you just dove right into this, by the way. Didn't question that at all.
My ears perk up when there's news sources. When it's games, my ears just close. But when it's news, they open.
This is news, baby.
Yeah, people were asking me if Microsoft was going to live stream tomorrow's event in San Francisco. The answer is no.
Gosh darn it! How are we supposed to find out what's going on?
I think they're going to make the content available at some time in the near term.
I think it's this game. I was invited to the event.
I think it's just games. I think it's games.
It's just games.
New games.
Why would they have an event and not I mean, who can even be at this event? Just the
we
games
don't know what
press,
it's
I guess.
invited guests only. It's not for
Well,
everyone.
I mean, my question is, why wouldn't you do one in New York and one in San Francisco? Because I'd go to New York to do this, but I'm not flying all the way across the country for one day and then flying home again. That's ridiculous. You know?
Right.
Just to look at games. I mean, I love games. I play games every day, but love to see Gears of War or whatever, Quantum Break or whatever. I'd be happy to see them, but I'd be happy to see them in New York and then go to Rattle and Hump with Mary Jo and have a good time rather than sit on a plane for 6.5 hours.
Some of us are on the West Coast, Paul.
I know.
I would be happy to do it in San Francisco and not fly to New York City.
No, all right, I'm saying they should do it. You're saying they should do it in both places.
Yeah, or stream it so we can all see it.
Well, here, someone who's watching, Wolfel, I think his name is, said he said the NDA for this event ends March 1st.
It's an embargo.
Oh, there's an NDA.
That's all.
It's an embargo.
I guess there is.
So there's some big announcement.
I don't know anything about it. I apologize. I said anything.
Is there going to be? Is there? Oh, you mean? Never mind.
It must be. It's a closed private press event about.
I mean,
games.
everyone's talking about it. I don't. It's
right.
It's
known that
to me.
this is happening. Right.
Yeah, I believe it's just games. I don't think it's a big deal to say that. I mean,
No. Yeah. So there you have it.
Yeah. Yes. All right. I think we should take a break and come back with the back of the book. Little beer, little tip, little something, little plumbago. Why not?
It sounds like you're saying plum bagels.
Plum bagels. Oh, yeah. There's a taste idea. Our show today brought to you by not Plum Bagels, but Igloo. Igloo software. Igloo is a intranet you'll actually want to use. Hey, that's something, isn't it? Your employees will want to use. Anyone that's worked in a corporate environment knows how awful legacy intranets are. They're the thing keeping Internet Explorer 8 alive. Let's not use old-fashioned technology and ActiveX controls for our intranet. Let's do something better. Let's do Igloo software, and you're going to really like it. First of all, it's responsive design, so you don't need an app. It just works great on smartphones as well as on desktops through any web browser. You can do everything. I mean, it's not just like, a blog. You can share files. You can collaborate on documents. You can coordinate calendars. You can manage projects. You have complete control over who can post, and if you wish, anybody can post. It's not like a locked-down system, so it's great for an enterprise where you want, other people to participate in the intranet. It makes it more exciting for them, and because it's social everywhere, you can like and share, and even got like Twitter-style blogging and things, microblogging. Drag and drop widgets, WYSIWYG editor. Igloo also offers a variety of access, authentication, and identity services so that you control tightly who gets access to that secret stuff inside your intranet. It also works with all the things you want it to work with, all the things you're using right now, like Salesforce or SharePoint or Active Directory. Coming soon, file sharing solutions like Box and Dropbox as well. Great for growing companies, large enterprises looking to refresh their communications strategy. It looks and feels beautiful. And you know what's cool? You can use it right now for up to 10 people, free forever. So get one of your, get one of the pods on Igloo and find out what they think. It's used by a lot of companies. Inventive Health uses it. American Family Insurance, Ipswich, Hulu uses it. igloosoftware.com/twit. You can sign up for a live demo to see it in action, or when you sign up through that link, igloosoftware.com/twit, use it for your work group of 10 or fewer people for as long as you want, free forever. That's cool. Share it with your pod. Igloo, IGLOO, igloosoftware.com/twit. It's an intranet you'll actually like. And we thank them for their support of Windows Weekly. Now time to flip to the back of the book where Paul Thurrott has his usual tip of the week.
think I would have been ready for this. So last week, Microsoft published an article about how to get better battery life out of the band, their wearable. And honestly, I mean, as someone who's been using this thing for a year and a half, and I got my wife one for Christmas, and she's been using it. I mean, if you're trying to save battery life, it's actually really easy. Don't use the GPS, which kills the battery. Yeah. And don't monitor your sleep, because it's pointless to monitor your sleep, because there's nothing the band can do to make you sleep better.
And you're not sleeping anyway. So
but, just, as my wife noticed, as I noticed a year ago when I first did this same thing, like you're kind of interested in seeing like the quality of your sleep, but then what you realize is this doesn't really help. Knowing that I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and at 5 o'clock in the morning,
big deal.
Not a lot of good information there. Yeah. The other one is that they added a feature to Band 2 recently called GPS Power Saver, and what that does is it prevents the GPS from continually monitoring your progress, and instead it samples your progress on longer intervals. And so it's kind of cool. Like when I walk around the neighborhood, I turn the GPS on and it makes a little map that shows where I walk.
Yeah, that's cool.
The truth is I walk the same place every single time. So this information is not particularly useful, and using GPS like that way is kind of wasteful. So I've been testing the Power Saver to see what the map looked like. It's not really much difference, because in my case, I'm just walking in straight lines, around a neighborhood. Anyway, that's really all you got to do. I mean, it's pretty basic. If you use GPS, you got to charge the thing once a day. If you don't, you got to charge it once every other day. That's all you need to know about the band. And then just as a quick note, they did update the band recently with sharing improvements. That's actually up on Microsoft Health. Cortana integration, so you can do some Cortana stuff and see your band-based activity from your PC, which is pretty cool. And some golf and guided workouts, which I don't actually use, so I don't know that much about. But anyway, there's that. And then I have a couple of software picks, but actually I thought Mary Jo could do the first one because she wrote about this and I did not.
Okay.
So gentlemanly of you. Sharing.
The software pick I had, well, I haven't tried this yet. I shouldn't say it's my pick, but I wrote about this. It's called Plumbago. So if you're wondering what that word is, it's a flowering plant, but it also is the Latin word for graphite. And that gives you a clue what this is about. This is another Microsoft digital note-taking app. It's not really a true rival to OneNote. It seems a little more oriented towards people who doodle and draw than OneNote is. But it's something that Microsoft Research has been working on for a couple of years. There was a leak on the code name, I think, from The Walking Cat, perhaps, a month or so ago.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep. What they're trying to do with this is a couple of things. So they brought back the radial menu that was part of OneNote at one point. So you can choose like pen tips and colors and all from this cool radial dial menu. And then there's a technology underneath called handwriting beautification. And what that is all your different handwriting strokes are kind of combined, and it makes it easier for your handwriting to be recognized by the system. I'm not doing that much justice there, but that's kind of the underlying idea of that. A lot of people who've looked at this app have said, do you think this might have been something that Microsoft worked on as part of the Courier project? Remember the Courier dual screen tablet that Microsoft was going to build? Had some of this design capability and doodling and drawing kind of thing. Maybe there's some of that technology that carried over. I don't know. But you can get this now from the Windows Store. You can download it, or from the Microsoft Garage site. It is also a Garage app. It's for Windows 10 and Windows 8.1 tablets. And it definitely, I think it must require a pen, because I think you can use your finger, actually. You can use your finger, but very much built for people who use a pen on those devices, especially Surface users. That's Plumbago.
Plumbago. Not a back ailment.
And not a Winnebago.
Not a Winnebago.
No.
But the return of the radial menu.
Yep.
Now, I'm thinking you're not talking about pre-ordering Doom for Xbox One.
No, that's not my pick.
Yeah, I guess technically that's sort of a tip. This isn't a great deal, but if you're going to buy Doom for Xbox One,
really,
it may make sense to pre-order it, because you can get Doom and Doom 2 for Xbox 360 for free.
Oh.
They will run in backwards compatibility
Is Doom
mode on
for
the
Xbox One going to be like the original Doom, or have they really updated it?
No, this is a crazy, awesome looking update.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to be available across platforms. Like I'm sure you can get it on Steam and whatever. It's a full blown title. It's $60. It's really expensive. It looks great. There was a multiplayer beta. I used it. It was okay. I ordered it immediately because I can't help myself. But I don't think these games are super expensive. I think if you went up to Xbox Live today and ordered Doom or Doom 2 for the Xbox 360, I bet they're $5 a piece. I don't think they're very expensive, but why not? I mean, why not get them? So if you are going to buy it, think about pre-ordering it. And the other thing is there was a leak of Gears of War Ultimate Edition on Windows 10. It's not actually available yet, but it was up in the store with a price of like $999 or something. You couldn't actually buy it, but it is coming soon. It looks like it's exactly the same version as shipped on Xbox One last August, I think it was. But if you don't play on Xbox One and you wanted to get this on Windows, it's coming to the store soon. So there's something to look out for. Yeah, so you're playing a video.
Not your grandpa's Doom. Holy cow!
No, and there was a Doom 3, of course. It had really nice graphics for the day, but this is even more impressive.
Nice. So it's kind of the same game. It's still from id, but it's just
although it is itself not the same id, in many ways, right?
Right. Oh, major carnage.
Yeah.
Nice. Kind of. Oh God. I'm sorry, Mary Jo. You shouldn't have to see this. Terrible.
Don't worry. I'm napping right now.
Please.
This might make her want to buy an Xbox.
Oh, man. Okay, that's
Nope,
enough of
It would not.
Oh.
The game doesn't actually come out till May. It's a few months away, unfortunately. So.
Oh, my God. It's violent. At least they're aliens, not real people.
They're demons. It's even better.
It is horrific. Okay, I'm sorry I even
really
showed
seem to be affected by this.
Jeez. Okay.
You've become immune to things, Paul, because you're into all these shooter games.
Yeah. That is just really, I mean,
this is a victimless crime. You're shooting demons.
What could possibly go wrong?
I told you, this is years ago, but when they added the zombies mode to Call of Duty, I was like, this is the perfect enemy. They're Nazis. No one minds killing them. And they're zombie Nazis. It's perfect. They're already dead.
So you're not really even hurting them.
Yeah.
No, you're just helping them back to the grave.
It's arguably not even violent.
Yeah. One could argue that.
Yep.
All right. And a Windows 10 version of Gears of War Ultimate.
Yeah, coming we
soon.
don't know when. That could be any day. That could hit tonight. It could hit tomorrow. It should be any time. But I think it's the same as the Xbox One version based on what I'm reading.
And now, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. Except it can do 4K graphics. And so if you have a crazy high-end computer, right, it can be incredible. And that's the thing I was talking about earlier. I mean, you get Xbox One, which is great, and it's simple, it works great, but 4K graphics, you can get a really high-end PC.
Let us go to our enterprise pick of the week with Mary Jo Foley.
Yes. So a couple weeks ago, we were talking about changes Microsoft made to their support for Skylake-based Windows 7 and 8.1 devices. Well, now there's new guidance for people who actually have Skylake-based devices running Windows Embedded. Windows Embedded 7 or 8 or 8.1. If you are running any of those operating systems on a Skylake-based system or device, you need to be aware that Microsoft is using the same guidelines that they did for Windows Client, which means you'll only be guaranteed to have full support until July 2017 if you're running those older operating systems on Skylake embedded devices. Microsoft wants you to upgrade to Windows 10. Surprise, surprise. If you do not, you may still get some updates, basically the most important security updates, but you won't get others that may possibly interfere with compatibility. What does that really mean? We don't know. You might get a lot of updates. You might get very few or none. We don't know. The other question people were asking me is, what if you have a Skylake-based server? So a Skylake-based server would be something running Intel Xeon E3 version 5. I guess that's what Skylake is if you have a server. If you have any older version of Windows Server on those devices, don't worry, your support will not change. You don't have that July 2017 limit. Only the people who have embedded and Windows Client have that limitation. So that's what you need to know, enterprise users.
Everything you need to know. And code name?
Yeah, this was a fun code name. Actiongram, that thing we were talking about earlier in the show, those hologram mixed videos that have holograms and videos in them that are for HoloLens. The code name for the Actiongram seems to be Project Burbank, which is very fitting if you think of where is Burbank, California. It's the home of a lot of TV and movie studios. So since this is all about creating these new kind of videos that mash up holograms with video, why not call it Burbank? So if you hear Project Burbank, that's what it is, Actiongram, we believe. Thanks, Walking Cat, yet again.
Wow, that's like his 8th mention in the show.
I know. He's like this mystery guy. We don't even know who he is,
really?
But he finds all this great stuff.
Do we have
None of us know
theory?
who he is. No, I don't know. I thought I knew who it was, and I pinged the person I thought, and the person's like, nope, not me.
I ain't a walking cat.
Nope.
I ain't the walking cat. Now it's time for Beers of War.
Nice.
Nice.
Beer me, Mary Jo Foley.
Yes. My beer pick this week may sound very odd, but let me explain. It's a coffee IPA.
Oh.
Not a coffee stout or a porter. It's coffee IPA. It's from a brewery in New York called Captain Lawrence, which is in Elmsford, New York. And the reason I picked this week is this is New York City Craft Beer Week here this week.
Nice.
So we're celebrating all our local brewers here. And I didn't really know coffee IPAs were a big thing, but they are becoming a huge thing. And I got to taste this beer, which is called Captain Lawrence Hopsomniac IPA, and it was so good. It uses Stumptown coffee from here, and they make an IPA with it.
Oh, wow.
It was so delicious. I just kept drinking it all day, and then the whole night I could not sleep because I guess there's a lot of coffee in that beer.
Really? It has caffeine in it.
Yeah, it has caffeine in it, I would say.
Wow.
But it sounds like a nightmare combination, coffees and IPAs together, but somehow it really works. If you ever see a coffee IPA, give it a try. I think even Paul might like this one. The two tastes really kind of work together, and they meld really well together if you get a well-made one. So that's
Captain
my pick.
Lawrence Brewing Company Coffee IPA. Yeah, I can see it in a
Hopsomniac.
stout or a.
I know. Stouts and porters are common to see coffee in those, but not so much IPAs.
Might go nicely with the hops, though, right?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
It somehow works.
All right, now you guys, they have a couple of events coming up. We want to make sure everybody knows. Next Monday, you're going to do a meetup in Microsoft Town.
We are.
Tell us about that.
Yep. We're going to have a meetup Monday night, February 29th, in Redmond, Postdoc Brewery, which is a really interesting brewery. One of the people behind it works at Microsoft.
What is this place?
We have an event page on Eventbrite that we're asking people to RSVP to so that we can give the brewery a rough head count. But they're ready for us, they said. They just want to know about how many people are coming.
Sure.
So 5 to 8 p.m. Yeah. Me and Paul will both be there in person, and some surprise Microsoft guests, perhaps.
If you search eventbrite.com for Windows Weekly, you'll find it.
Yep.
Remember, it's
Windows
Leap
Weekly.
Day, the 29th, from 5 to
It
8
is.
p.m. in Redmond at Postdoc.
How have I never seen this place before?
I had not either, but a friend of mine from Microsoft told me about it.
Yeah, it's
and
not far
it's
from
really
Redmond
close to
Town Center.
campus. I know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why they know about it. And then next week you're going to be. Well, I didn't ask, but you're out there for briefings for Microsoft or something, or?
We're both out there to be part of an event called TechNet VC, which is a 3-day Microsoft event that they're going to be broadcasting. It's all about IT Pro content, basically. I'm going to be co-hosting day 1 of that event, and I think Paul's on day 3. Is that right?
Who's on day 2?
Day 2.
Day 2. Day 2. So day
Why don't
1
I know
is
this?
March 1st.
Day 2. It's day 2. Day 2 is the Windows Day. Yeah.
Okay.
Day 2.
Day
doing
1
a
is March
closing.
1st, 2 is March 2nd, obviously. And it's going to be live streamed, so you can watch any or all parts of it and watch it after the fact as well. But that's why we're both going to be out there.
Yep.
We're going to be doing Windows Weekly live from the Microsoft campus next week. And we have a special guest. I think we should keep the guest a surprise. Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll have a special guest on next week. We're doing it at our usual time, but we're going to be on the campus actually doing Windows Weekly.
Oh, that's
next
neat.
week.
Oh, that's neat. And of course, we're going to do a special Windows Weekly on April Fool's Day from Build on a Friday. And details to follow on that. I know. Really.
Yeah, we still don't have the final details on that for the Build show, but we'll let you guys know soon.
As soon as you can.
Yep, working on
it. Get the plugs ready. Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, so we'll be back, but kind of a special Windows Weekly next week. Wednesdays, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, 1900 UTC. Paul and Mary Jo, we talk about the latest news from Microsoft. This time they'll be at Microsoft with a special guest. Should be good.
We're going to be assimilated into the Borg.
Jerry Ryan will be our guest. So, good. Thank you, fellas. You'll find Mary Jo Foley at allaboutmicrosoft.com. That's her ZDNet blog. Paul Thurrott at Thurrott.com. Thurrott spells goodness.
Throttled.
Why didn't you call it that? That would have been a good name.
I have no control over my destiny, Leo.
Throttled. Wow. Thanks for being here. And if you can be here live, we love it. But if you can't, don't worry. On-demand audio and video is always available at our website, twit.tv/WW, youtube.com/Windows Weekly, and, of course, on your favorite podcatcher and on our apps everywhere you want to be. Please don't miss an episode of Windows Weekly. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.